Good.
Hey, let's start the show.
It's July 31st, 2014. Welcome to This Is Only a Test, the official podcast of Tested.com. I'm Will Smith. Seated directly to my left, as always, Norman Chan.
Hello.
How are you doing this morning, sir?
A little tired.
It's been for the week after ComiCon. This has been a busy week still.
All of July has been incredibly busy.
Yeah, it turns out.
Let me look in August. Still busy.
It's not as bad though, because at least we're not doing daily builds through the entire month of August.
Or not?
I don't think so. I think we should stop that for a little bit. I think we should give it a month off and then come back.
Do another month.
Fast.
I think
months
are strong. You know what you're getting into.
Jeremy Williams holding a black iPad. What the hell did you get a black iPad Mini for?
It looks beautiful.
Why would
I
I
have a white
black
one?
Why would you get anything but black? If you want to watch something on it and you'd like to have an invisible bezel around the sides,
I
of it,
watch text.
Will reads, and so for reading,
so that expands the whiteness of the page.
Yeah, I like to be assaulted by the white.
It's like a bigger screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I get it for the video.
You always bet on black, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Well, space gray.
I'm trying to pull up the show notes and I forget how to do that on this thing.
The Google Drive, as we've talked about, is one of the worst apps.
It's shitty.
I'm sorry,
Shitty.
Google Docs now.
No,
Docs
but you need Drive to get to the docs. It's super dumb.
Right, it's various things. Like if it's a spreadsheet, you need the Sheets app.
Yep.
Yeah.
They broke it out, I guess, so they can anyway, I don't even want to talk about that anymore because people got really upset. Here is... I had an interaction. So this morning, sometimes on Thursdays and Fridays, Norm and I get up at the crack of dawn, truck over to Adam's shop and record episodes of Still Untitled. Because we're trying to get enough of a backlog that we can maintain Still Untitled's through their Australia New Zealand trip, which is I think 5 weeks long.
Is Adam a morning person?
Oh, he gets
Adam's
up
an
super
anytime
early.
person.
Is that
he's
right?
up late. He's up early.
He's up late and then also up.
He just doesn't need that much sleep.
Famous people have unstoppable reserves of energy. This is the thing. He
Naps.
He does take a nap in the middle of the day. If I could take a nap in the middle of the day, my life would be measurably better.
Like the Spaniards.
Spaniards and French know what's going on, man. The French just say... I sent an email to a dude in France a few weeks ago, and I got the vacation reminder that was like, I'm not here in July. Fuck off. I'll maybe answer you when I get back.
Foutois.
I think siestas are the better way to go.
Do you think that the midday nap? We can start doing
the
that.
midday, 30 minutes.
We establish
4 p.m.
We establish
4
our
p.m.
own rules here.
Infants know what's up.
Yeah.
They do. Some people don't think siestas just like they're working in a shop and the shop closes and they sleep on the floor for 30 minutes.
I think that's
wake up.
I loved it in preschool when you rolled out your little bath mat and laid down, took a nap on the floor.
The cot.
No cots.
The cot with the stuff that made of the canvas that your hair sticks to.
Fancy preschool. We literally had Mom went to Kmart and got a bath mat. Mine was green.
The floor.
Yeah.
Hipsters can sleep on their yoga mats.
A nap is supposed to be worth twice as much sleep to your brain.
Well, there's an optimal time for optimal duration of napping based on your REM cycle.
Is that true?
Yes.
Yeah, you want to wake up in the between cycles.
At the moments after the close of REM sleep, right?
But the trade-off there is that moments after the close is at the least interrupted time. You will feel the most rested, but you will also not remember your dream. It's more likely to remember the dream if the dream sequence is interrupted.
I'm fine
if
not
you're woken
remembering
up.
dreams.
Oh, no, I love remembering dreams.
My
So
dreams.
you get being startled in the mid-dream is when you remember the dream.
What kind
the
of
most.
dreams are you having
Yeah.
that you're fine not remembering them, Will?
Lots frequently spiders. Gina says I wake up screaming about spiders about twice a week usually.
Oh my gosh.
I don't even mind spiders. I'm not afraid of spiders. I don't actively hunt down spiders, but apparently my dream will.
Yeah.
Terrified of spiders.
Wow. My dreams are all about fighting ninjas.
I sometimes dream that there are snakes under the bed, and that when I put my foot down, the snake is going to bite me in the heel.
It's really dark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we were over at Adam's shop this morning. After we did that, I went and got another cup of coffee. And then I went and got gas in the city, which I don't do very often. And I pulled up to the pump, and as I'd already gotten out, stopped the car, and I saw the sign that said, "Card reader broken, go inside to buy gas." And I realized that I don't know how to do that anymore. Like
What
that
do
is
you
a
mean?
transaction I don't know how to manage.
I want to buy exactly $20 worth of gas.
No, I don't want to buy. I want to fill it up because I want the maximum amount of time between having to stop at the gas station again. Like this is, to be honest, the appeal of electric plug-in cars to me is that I would never have to go to a fucking gas station again.
Yeah, you just
No
run
interaction.
out of battery power in the middle of the highway.
No. You plug in every night. Fine with doing that. I do that with my phone and my tablet. No problem.
That's true.
You know, with the gas, and I deal with a lot of gas management from a car, not body gas management. Driving
I
back
think,
up
actually.
from ComiCon, because I drove this giant Penske vehicle.
A moving van.
A
14
Oh,
foot.
yes.
a 16-foot van truck. And the other thing, I've never driven one for that duration before. On the freeway, there are signs that like trucks here. Does that car count as a trailer truck?
You
It's
can
not-
if you want to go into the gas station with the 18 wheelers.
But not the gas station. Sometimes on the freeway, trucks must go to the right.
No.
Trucks
No,
and
you don't-
trailers. No, I'm a regular car.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. That's why
You don't have to go get weighed.
Those are
Exactly.
for tractor trailers.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was like it's at least a 30-gallon tank on that thing, which is crazy.
Was it diesel or gas?
Just gas.
Okay.
It was a Ford. And
Well, Ford makes diesel cars too.
it was a Ford 350.
Okay.
With a
It's a
regular
pickup
gas,
truck.
Pickup truck with a big trailer on it. I got like $100 worth of gas, and they cut you off $100 at the gas stations.
I've had that happen to me.
And it was weird because some gas stations did 100 and some did 99.
Yeah,
And then one did
I've had
90?
I think I've had like 50 or something.
Right.
once.
It just,
wouldn't-
cuts it off right there.
When we drove to Vegas in that big in the molester van all those years, I frequently had the cutoff then was $75, and that thing had 2 tanks. So you would fill up one tank, and then somebody else would have to fill up the second tank because they wouldn't let you use your card twice.
But the point was, cars that we have, as we've known, have the indicator. And we talked about this in the podcast where you get the emergency light, the close to empty light. It turns on, and you maybe get a sound, and then maybe you have 20 miles left.
50 in my car.
Yeah. And then even below the gauge, because it's an analog gauge, you have a little bit of buffer. It's an old Seinfeld episode. That's an old Seinfeld joke. Now, are electric cars also designing their cars to give you that type of same
They have to
mental
be
buffer?
Yeah, they have to be
And how accurate are those gauges?
super duper accurate.
As accurate as they want.
Yeah. This is a situation where more accurate is probably worse than less accurate. Probably you want it to tell you you're fucked well before you're actually fucked.
Which
Right.
is how in the gas cars they do. They tell you you're fucked, and then you get to 0 at the bottom of the dial, and you still have maybe 20 miles because they
You have half a gallon. So
yeah.
you have 10
you
miles
have your emergency.
probably. Yeah.
But I think electric cars won't give you that extra.
I think they
battery
have
buffer.
to.
I think they
They
must.
must. They'll give you the warning at
Yeah.
20%, like your phone.
Yeah.
You get a 20% warning. It's 20%. Once it's 0, it just
Yeah,
turns off.
but the penalty. So the thing is, with a phone, the penalty for messing up and running all the way out of battery is that you can't take calls or know what time it is for the rest of the day. For a car, the penalty is for an electric car. The penalty is that you have to have the thing towed and have the battery charged again someplace. For a gas-powered car, the penalty is that you destroy the fuel injector and you have to spend a few $100s replacing or repairing the fuel injector. So, or fuel pump, I guess. It's the fuel pump that you burn out. So, like it's most cars, as I understand it, when they detect that there's no fuel coming through the line, just turn everything off so that hopefully you don't burn out the fuel pump or whatever it is that breaks when you run out of gas now.
And then
there's a button you press to restart that when you fill it back up again.
Do electric cars also will they have like low power energy saver modes? Will that be a feature where like, we'll shut off everything as you get close
No
to 0?
power steering.
Like no power, no power. Your
No
LCDs turn
AC?
off, no
Right.
AC. All the lights turn off, and they just like stretch that mileage, everything to the wheels.
That's smart.
So,
like
yeah, I think so. I hope
it's
so.
something that we just never have had to deal with.
You know what I've taken to doing is when I fill up my car, I go back into the driver's seat and I turn it on to the AC position of the
Because you're trying to blow up the
switch.
gas station.
I don't turn on the engine.
That still counts. You're making electricity go through the car. You're going to kill us all.
So, but this allows me to watch my fuel gauge go up, so I know when it's time to get out. So I can do whatever I have to do.
Jeremy Williams.
with the proper amount of time.
You
Really?
are living on the edge.
You need to know you can't watch the kettle like
No.
boil.
Like,
You-
I thought
you have
Norm
to-
was crazy,
you
but
have
this
to
is
try
bad.
You
Wait.
have to-
Okay, so walk through the process. You get out of the car, you
through
turn
the
off
process.
you turn off the engine,
Yeah, of course.
but you flip it, like you turn on halfway, so you just get the radio and the AC.
exactly.
and then you fuel it up?
Yeah.
That sounds like a terrible idea.
No,
Yeah, no, that is a terrible idea.
It works perfectly.
It's not that it's the one time that it doesn't work that's going to be explosive and bad.
It keeps me on schedule. I can then.
But you can't. You
I
can't
then
just
can
get on your
browse my
phone.
email. It's like having a countdown timer to when I'm going to be
The
full.
microwave.
Why don't-
it's
It's
like
wonderful.
Why don't you just stand by the gas pump like a civilized human being with your phone in your hand, looking at your phone, and then when it pops, you're like, oh, okay, well, back in the
Well,
pocket.
also, don't like. When do you gas up your
Jesus
car? Is it
Christ,
like at
man.
50 miles or 100 miles or
When it's empty.
when it's like when
Like,
it's
you ride until the edge?
Of course.
No, you should leave. You
la-
should leave
last
2 gallons.
Last quarter
yeah.
tank.
So you should know that you have 12 gallons of gas to fill.
Yeah.
And use that gauge
So
on the actual
Yeah,
gas
that-
station.
That's what I used to do.
and it was still
But
too
there's
inaccurate.
something very satisfying about watching the fuel gauge rise.
When-
you never really see the fuel gauge move, and this isn't.
it only goes
this
the
is-
bad direction.
Right.
Except when you turn on the car.
I'm telling you, try this and you'll be a converter.
But the
Or
problem
dead.
is, you're going to explode the
ashes.
gas station.
Please
Sparks,
don't do this.
electricity.
I'm
No,
sure
no,
I
don't-
won't do that.
Don't listen to this at home. This is a terrible. Jeremy Williams is not a role model.
I'm sure 5% of everyone who fills up their gas tank forgets to even turn the car off, and
What?
nothing bad happens.
Gina did that. Gina did that once where I got out of the car to fill up the tank, and she just it's like, "Hey, the air conditioning's off." I was like, "What the fuck are you doing? You're gonna kill us all!" I remember when I was a kid, people used to leave the car running when they were filling it up. Like my mom had this Cadillac
Yeah.
that had the gas tank hole. The cap was underneath the rear license plate, folded down. You just unscrewed the back, jammed the thing in there. You pulled into the full service station because that's you know who's going to get out and pump their own gas in 1976, 78.
Chuds.
And the guy who was filling the tank would smoke a cigarette while the car was still running.
That's
And the
iconic.
thing was hanging out of the
That's
back.
iconic.
See, now that's a bad idea.
It's living like Don Draper is what it's like. Yeah, I don't even know. I didn't know how to buy gas inside the store though. That was the point. It's been so long since I bought gas from a human being instead of just the robot that I was like, I want to fill it up. He's like, well, how much is that gonna be? I was like, I
soon
don't know,
people
like
will know how to
$70,
interact-
maybe
Do you know how
$50,
to interact with
$50 on the dot.
Do you not interact with
Perfect
the bank
fill up.
teller?
What?
Yes,
bank
of
teller?
course. You say hello. I'd like to deposit some money, or
Yeah.
hello, I would like to get a
Do you
cashier's
fill out the
check.
form?
No, fuck no.
beforehand?
You just
Now they charge you for that. It's like, how many bank teller visits do you get under your bank plan?
Wow. See? There
you
go.
need to get baller checking because then they don't charge you.
Who offers baller checking?
Baller checking is any of the big banks. You have to carry
Baller checking.
baller checking.
What? Wait, what?
I
Baller
have
checking?
look, my credit card, my mortgage, and I guess that's it at this point. My CDs and investment banking, all with one bank.
Will, baller
I get
checker.
baller checking. So
Will,
they
Will,
don't
like,
listen.
it's a-
They
it's a-
don't
it's a
charge me for
Washington
checking.
Mutual ad, which no longer exists, and it's Wilson. I have baller checker. Washington Mutual.
It's only a matter of time before somebody comes out with baller checking. This is a great idea.
Baller checking.
You don't. I don't pay
Kanye
fees.
is first on the list.
Listen, I don't
Sign up
pay
for-
fees.
Yeah.
I don't. All that overdraft protection and all that bullshit that I never need anymore. 'Cause I know how to balance a checkbook now. That's all built in.
Mm-hmm.
And my savings account earns extra interest.
Because you need a huge minimum balance then, right?
It's not that you need a huge minimum balance. It's that I do all of my banking with one bank.
Well, yeah, but most people do that.
I understand, but also because we run all of our finances through the credit card, like all of our monthly payments and stuff goes through one credit card.
There's got to be a trade-off
So
for
you
baller
get
banking.
points.
I get mega points.
Mega points.
But also because I
1%.
have all my savings and stuff there,
Okay.
2% on
and
groceries.
my income is above the right threshold because I live in San Francisco where it's fucking expensive to live.
Yeah.
Then they give me like super duper status for checking.
It's called baller.
Baller
Baller
check. Just
checking.
go to the teller and be like, "Hey, I want baller checking,"
You should do that.
and then they're gonna arrest you and throw you on the ground.
Baller checking, yo.
I hit $50 on the fucking dot. I just want to celebrate this. My perfect fill up was exactly $50. Totally full. I didn't need to turn on the car and risk death and watch the gauge or any bullshit like that.
I almost don't believe you. It never
I
stops.
took a picture.
It never stops on the penny.
No, I stopped it
Except
on the penny.
Except if it's a cap.
Well, if
on
you
the-
prepaid.
Yeah.
Except if it's like a $100 cap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have receipts of $100, $100.
They stop it automatically at those price points because gas and tennis shoes are the two things thieves will buy, quickest with stolen credit cards.
Yes.
That's
I
really-
got a phone call. I got a credit card phone call because it's like you bought too much gas this past week. Like, no one
You'd
was driving
think
their
they could
car.
look at the fucking map and be like, it's every 200 miles from here to San Diego and
Well,
back.
no, it could also be stolen.
Oh, it was not legit.
No, it was legit. It was
okay.
legit.
Okay.
I one time
I
had
did some fraud last week though.
had my card stolen at a Foot Locker. Like I bought a pair of tennis shoes and they swiped it once for the Foot Locker and once for them. Like they swiped my card at a point of sale retail location.
Really?
Yes. And then went on a road trip around the Bay Area with my card. That was bad.
Wow.
Someone recently, I think it wasn't actually malicious, but someone at a retailer maybe mistyped someone else's credit card number and typed mine in. So they put a hold, not, you know how they do a reserve?
Yeah.
It was $2,500.
What was it? What did they buy, Norm?
Sniper rifle lenses of scopes.
Nice.
Sniper scopes.
NSA
in Michigan.
The NSA has your number now.
Awesome.
Ugh.
That was fun. Anyway.
News?
Should we talk about news?
I don't know.
News music. I didn't put these in any kind of order, so it's all over the place. DisplayMate really likes the Surface Pro 3 display. Ray Sonora over at DisplayMate does, I think, probably the best testing of LCD OLED displays in the world.
That's this display right
That's
here.
what I'm looking at
You're
right
looking
now.
at it's the
a really
best
great
display he's ever seen.
I did some photo editing on
Ever
this.
seen.
I don't know about that. The headline was, I didn't read the whole article because it was those things. If you want to get in the weeds, go read one of those reviews. They're intense. But he said it was a really good display. That's the takeaway.
Do you agree?
I agree. It is a fantastic display.
Now, we'll talk more about the Surface Pro and what we're testing because Norm's been testing it extensively, I believe.
Okay.
Just not gaming.
No. There's a couple of new video game subscription services. Several, actually. EA has rolled out a EA subscription for Xbox One. So you can get, for $5 a month or $30 a year, access to the EA Vault, which right now consists of FIFA 14, Madden 25, Battlefield 4, and Peggle 2. Plus, you get a 10% discount on all EA properties on Xbox One, including DLC and in-game currency. And you get early trials for upcoming Xbox One retail games, such as Dragon Age and next year's sports games. Do you think that this is a good deal, Jeremy Williams?
Well, yes. I'm a fan of the subscription things because they expose you to games you otherwise wouldn't have played.
Okay.
How much is it?
$5 a month or $30 a year.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So it's half off if you buy the year.
No question.
So it's unclear to me whether once games are in the vault, are they in the vault forever?
Probably not. Probably only until your subscription lapses.
Well, no. I mean, I understand that, but like, will Battlefield 4 always forevermore be a free to play if you pay for the if you pay for the service?
It will be Netflix. Will they take things off?
Yeah,
and
right.
Put things on.
How does
during popular
PlayStation
season?
Plus do it?
PlayStation Plus, it's 2 free games a month. You download them. Once you add them to your account, they're yours as long as you remain a Plus member.
Yeah.
As soon as you disconnect, then you lose access to all of the PlayStation Plus games.
But in order to get those games, you have to download them within the window.
You have to go. You have to sign. Yes, you have to jump in on the window and get them.
Maybe it's like that.
So the question I have is, like, for Battlefield 4, do you get DLC or do you still have to buy DLC? That's unclear. It seems like you still have to buy DLC, which means that presumably you could spend money on DLC for a game that you will no longer have ability to play at some point in the future if you stop subscribing, which, like, to me feels super weird.
Yeah, but you don't know if that's the way it's going to be. So.
Well, the understanding I have now is that that's the way it is.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
All right.
And for a game like multiplayer only game like Battlefield, or essentially, I mean, I know there's a single, but a game that people play multiplayer, not having access to the DLC or having to pay for that in addition to the subscription seems weird. Although I guess $30 a year is a pretty good price for access to base level. I don't even know. I don't know how I feel about this.
I haven't jumped in with Xbox yet. I'm thinking I might as soon as my kids
With
get
gold?
At all. I don't have an Xbox One.
Oh, okay.
But as soon as my kids get into the motion stuff, maybe they'll want to connect and there'll be something that we want to play.
Yeah, I wish that like that Sesame Street game was out for Xbox One because my daughter would be into that now, or close to it.
I don't know that game.
Double Fine made a Sesame Street game.
Oh,
for
wow.
Connect for
No kidding.
360.
Wow.
So yeah, I'm the neat thing about the trials, I guess, you get early trial versions of retail games, so basically demos. Your progress will carry over,
Oh,
which
that's kinda
seems nice.
interesting. Yeah.
Like that seems the way like how demos should work, but they never do.
Like shareware.
Yeah.
Yeah, shareware. I mean, with shareware, the full game was there. You just had to unlock it
Sometimes.
with the
yeah,
code.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
But
just
this one you're just streaming.
given the fact that the games are Battlefield 2, Peggle 2, Madden, and FIFA, like I wonder how long it'll be before, like if the next Mass Effect game, like what's the release window that it's at retail versus when does it get added to the vault? So do I just wait 3 months to play that, or is it that it shows up after? Madden's been out for 9 since Xbox One launch, basically now. Same thing for FIFA, I think, or I guess FIFA came out earlier this year. I just don't know. Like, I don't know how long. It depends on what the window is. I have questions.
Yeah.
I don't know that I feel okay about this.
What's the other service?
Sony is today starting an open beta for PlayStation Now, which is the game streaming service that presumably is based on Gaikai. And it's timed rentals, PS3 only titles for now. So this is the answer for backwards compatibility. It's unclear whether they'll let you, like whether you can eventually use that as backwards compatibility for PlayStation 3 so I can go play games that I bought on disc for PS3 on Gaikai. And eventually it'll come to the PS3 and the Vita and the Vita TV as well. But it is timed rentals, no subscription service right now. So I guess I said there were 2 subscriptions, but really only 1. I was lying.
That's right.
The rentals are timed. It's $3 for 4 hours, $6 for 7 days, $8 for 30 days,
What?
and $15 for 90 days.
What is this, like
4
1995?
hours?
That's nuts.
How
So
much?
I can kind of see the $3 for 4 hours. Like, what if you want to play something? Like, obviously, you're not going to download like a Final Fantasy game for 4 hours. That makes no sense.
I think people with baller checking can understand $3 for 4 hours. But your
Wow, it's like
general
Blockbuster
consumer,
pricing.
that's a lot of money. I mean,
Yeah.
for not much time.
But what if you're talking about a game that's like a 4-hour game? There are a shitload of 4-hour
Running
games
down the
out
clock,
there.
and there's a lot of cutscenes. Like, does that include
Fast forward through the cutscenes,
all
man.
the loading time and everything?
Yeah, it includes everything.
I know game developers want to pack in a lot of action the first 10 minutes to get gamers interested, but 4 hours is not a lot
Guys,
of time.
they're thinking about adding a $1.99 tier too. 8 minutes.
Yeah, right.
I mean, it's really clear that the sweet spot that they're shooting for is that $6 for 7 days, right?
So I mean, I guess having the
Yeah.
$4 option makes that $6 option
That's
that
what it's
much
there
more
for.
appealing.
Yeah, you're
it's-
probably right.
Congress, it's just tricking you.
Makes it look like a value.
Yes.
It's to make you not feel raw. And the thing is, they couldn't go to 8 hours. Like, they couldn't do $3 for 8 hours, which, like, because this is time played. It's not. It starts and then you have 4 hours from the time of purchase.
Oh, I didn't understand that.
Yeah, no, it's time in game.
Is that true for the 8-day one or whatever it was?
No, it can't be.
That can't be.
Okay.
And
See,
maybe
that's
maybe
just
actually
inconsistent.
You know, when you say that, maybe it's not. Maybe it's not time in game.
Yeah, I think it's like a ticking time, ticking clock. Once you load it up.
That's what I thought.
Are you guys ready? 1, 2, 3, launch. 4 hours.
I know, you feel so-
Speed runs only.
That's what I would feel like.
Hold on, I'm gonna
lot of
get
pressure.
specific. Pricing information, 100 titles
Stop
available.
lingering on that cutscene. Read the text faster.
There's a press release. There's how many titles? There's a lot of titles. 100 titles available. Subscription style access in the future, as is a pilot service for compatible Bravia TVs as well as Asia and Europe.
Have either of you ever used this Gaikai service?
Nope.
I haven't either. I remember when it was announced, along with that other one that was for PC games. On Live.
On Live, which got resold. Now it's relaunching as its own separate
I have
service.
yet to try it, like for real at home, and I'd be very curious.
Did
OnLive
you try
was-
the other one on live?
No.
On Live was heavily marketed. It was supposed to be a big deal, and then of course fizzled.
Kind of shitty.
Because they couldn't get their business model working. You had to pay for a subscription service, and then in addition to paying for the subscription service initially, buy games. So you pay like whatever $5 a month or relatively low to be a member.
Yeah.
That lets you get access to watching video streams and demos. But then you still in addition paid full price to stream
Well,
Batman Arkham City.
And they had technological problems too. Like, they were running one machine per streamer,
and that's expensive.
which was
At its best, does that technology work?
Yes.
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 But there's latency. There are some games that are never going to work.
At its best, you could plug in on a MacBook Air, run a high quality PC
play
game,
Rage.
and plug in a gamepad and play.
You can play a shooter.
Yeah.
It has that low enough latency to play. a game like
not
that.
a competitive shooter, but they were demoing at UT when it first
Really?
launched, and
That was
you
when
could
they were
play.
running the servers in the booth with the demo, though.
I don't know about that,
Okay.
but it obviously it didn't work out. They did eventually move to a model where you could get all you can eat buffet style for a subscription plan.
Mm-hmm.
But
I think you're
moot
right.
point now.
I think it's. I don't think it's game time. I think it's. They don't say in the press release. I can't find any clarification, but I think it's that you have 4 hours from when you
On
press
the clock.
button on the clock.
Yeah.
The real life clock, not
Right.
the game clock. They say they're experimenting with pricing too. So my hunch would be that expands out a little bit, or they get rid of that $3 one.
Could you imagine Steam offering a subscription service?
God, I would sign up for that in a heartbeat. No way though. It's too many. I mean, Amazon's offering a subscription service, right? Amazon has Kindle
Right.
Unlimited.
Right.
Isn't that what they call it?
Yep.
But
It seems like it's only Amazon published books, which is all of the self-published stuff.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Which is interesting because I don't know if a lot of the people who are self-publishing books realized that they were rolled into that by default. So that means all the Hugh Howey books and stuff like that is and presumably 50 Shades of Grey and that kind of stuff. It's all fair game.
We'll see what that does for their revenues. But maybe for the indies that aren't getting a whole lot of downloads, I'm talking about games now, on Steam, maybe they would like that. Maybe they'd get a few dollars that they wouldn't have otherwise gotten, and exposure.
And if there's programming, like that type of subscription stuff where you have enough of a subscriber base, and Steam can then do programmed game nights where everyone, let's all play this game,
Yeah.
and get people actually trying stuff.
Yep.
And that increases their social stuff, which Steam I don't think is doing a great job with, or has not been.
That'd be cool.
Well, and the other thing that opens up is the opportunity to do stuff that maybe a little bit more like free to play, but isn't necessarily. So, like if you look at a game like PlanetSide 2, which is a free to play game, basically they have thousands and thousands of people who play that game for free that make the scale of that game work, because they're never going to get enough people paying to play like an MMO type subscription to support the people who are playing at the high level.
Right.
And plus, they can also be. I mean, you can take the League of Legends model, where a subscription service or a relatively cheap service, or even a free service, unlocks a new game every week, and then you play it that week, and then the next week it's another free game, and if you want to buy it and continue playing, you got to pay for it.
I love this idea. I would say
It's like League of Legends, where you get to try the hero, and then if you want to buy it, you buy it. If you want to continue playing with it,
I'm sure Gabe Newell is a listener to your podcast.
Absolutely.
I think they have business guys who have done the math.
Gabe's too busy making knives and playing Dota. The Amazon thing, we touched on this a little bit. It happened last week while we were off. Sorry we missed last week, by the way. We were at ComiCon and just didn't get a podcast out. There was no time. As part of the dispute with Hachette, which is one of the big publishers, Amazon's not promoting their books on the site and stuff like that. And Hachette wants more, I think, a bigger cut or more say in pricing on the store. Amazon is basically saying, look, if you sell books at $9.99, your revenue will increase at a certain percentage, and the amount of money you lose X percentage of margin on the sale, but the increased volume outweighs the increased number of sales outweighs the revenue lost per copy by a substantial margin. And that this whole selling ebooks for $15 thing is $15 to $20 is literally just to protect the dead tree business that is eroding more every day. So you might as well fucking lean into it. I don't know exactly how I feel about the whole Amazon Hachette, Amazon Warner Brothers. Is it Warner Brothers having problems with? Like the Muppet movie wasn't available for pre-order. The Muppets,
That's
the second.
Universal.
Well, it's Disney too, right?
I'm not exactly sure.
They had the same problem with Lego Movie, which is Warner Brothers.
Yes, it is.
So anyway, let's roll into Uber's bullshit ratings. Norm, what's your Uber rating?
I didn't. Never
What's your
check.
passenger rating?
Never checked.
I'm 4.9.
Oh my god.
Jeremy, what's your Uber passenger rating?
I don't even know. I didn't know you could do this.
So explain to Jeremy. This happened in a flash. If you weren't on the Zeitgeist on Twitter, when
Sunday
when
night,
it
man.
Exploded. Oh, Sunday night. You know what I was doing? Driving.
No, that was Monday night.
Oh, that's right. You know what I was doing? Processing photos.
Processing photos.
I bet you were.
The 784. Is that right?
784.
I looked at every single one.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Yeah.
There were a couple that were kind of naughty.
Yes.
Yeah.
They do the pose.
Yeah.
Uber. So what happened Sunday night?
So on Sunday night, somebody posted a way to use JavaScript console, the JavaScript console in Firefox or Chrome, to access data that Uber does not make publicly available to users.
Oh, no.
So,
this is so interesting.
for example, when you hit an Uber, Uber looks at the drivers in your area and gives you presumably the highest rated driver that's in your area that's available.
Or the shortest distance.
Or the shortest distance
And
away.
they
or
have
some-
10 seconds to choose whether or not to take you as a fare.
Yes, that's how long. I didn't know that. That's good to know.
So and then for over a year, like we've known that the Uber drivers can choose.
We've known
choose, whether to accept the fare or not.
Yeah.
it has not been secret that Uber drivers rate passengers as well.
Yeah.
Like, so when you finish your ride in Uber, you before you can get another ride, even if it's like 2 weeks later, it says your last ride cost $15, and how would you rate this driver?
And
You
you have
have
to
to
rate
give
them.
a rating.
Right.
We've known for a long time that if the driver's rating drops below a certain threshold, which I think is in the vicinity of 4. Like if you don't see Uber drivers with a rating less than 4. At least I don't, because baller checking. You shouldn't give Uber drivers anything less than 5 unless they're fucking terrible. Is the way I look at it, because those guys are doing a job. It's a kind of shitty job,
We gave
but they're
someone
nice.
3
Really?
at ComiCon. These guys went around in circles.
I only give ones or
He would
5s.
Yelling, he would not even listen to the GPS that was telling him where to go. And we're trying to go across the street, basically.
1s or 5s.
Anyway.
That's my rule on Uber drivers. So Sunday night, somebody posted a thing on Medium that was like, here's how you find out what your Uber rating is. Open the JavaScript console, paste this code in, reload the page, boom, and it pops up with your email address, your name, and your Uber passenger rating.
You have a rating? So the drivers rate you.
Everybody knew you had a rating. At least if you paid attention to Uber, you knew that you have a rating.
Paying attention
Is
to
this
Uber.
still available? Does it still work?
No, it does not. It stopped working first thing Monday morning, of course. People went bananas on Sunday evening.
Because people had low ratings?
No, because everybody's like, it's another way to measure the size of your electronic penis. I'm a 4.8. I'm a 4.9. What motherfucker dropped my rating from 5 to 4.9? I'm going to find him and burn his house down. It got crazy.
That's
like,
wonderful.
super fast.
That's great.
I have a 4.9. That's all I know.
That's not bad.
I feel like that
and
was
you said
okay.
yours is lower than that.
I don't
Norm
know.
doesn't
what mine
know.
is.
Oh, you don't know.
He was
have no
wasting
idea.
his time with Comic-Con photos or something. I don't know.
Work, yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't know about this either until it was too late.
Oh, no, I saw the tweets. and
Really?
Did not care.
You didn't care?
Did not care.
Oh, I would have been
I was
all over
just
this.
curious. You
Did
couldn't-
not care.
that's
Could not have cared less.
catnip.
Especially, it was, this is a good opportunity to mute everyone.
NFL player tracking RFID tags. I don't know what this is. Norm typed this in.
NFL 17 stadiums next year is going to support RFID tracking of players and referees. So players in their shoulder pads will have RFID sensors, and you'll get telemetry data on speed, direction, momentum of players.
Is this a concussion thing?
No, it's
or is
purely
this
for
just-
fans. More data.
So does
More
it let
stats.
you have like the MLB play-by-play thing that you get on the website now for football games?
Maybe it's something you have to pay for additionally, but they're testing it.
So wait,
Could you get this in Madden? Like, could you watch a game unfold in the game?
You mean could the data from the game be
Dumped into the?
in
It
real
should. There's
time
no
in the
reason not.
rendering engine?
Right?
it's just positional though. Like it would be pretty rough.
Are they
right?
putting an
Yeah.
RFID on the
on the
football?
ball? No.
on the football?
They should.
That's great.
Fucking
But how does that
laser
work?
in on that thing.
With every RFID I've ever used, I have to be within an inch of the scanner.
That's why the stadiums, only specific stadiums, will have
Right.
the scanners built into underground.
They're going to put enormous
Oh my God.
microwave transmitters
Really?
on all sides of the stadium.
That's so safe.
You're going to go in, you're going to feel a little warm, your skin might tingle a little bit, and maybe your vision will go a little hazy. It's fine. You're the baked potato. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
That's really cool. I didn't know that.
that's pretty
Make,
cool.
make sports watching the people with the data nuts that much happier.
Well, it's interesting because football is one of those games that like you can't. There's box scores for baseball work because there's a limited set of player actions that can happen in any given moment, and it stops and starts in a predictable and easy to notate way.
And they also don't tally things like how high he jumped when he caught that ball or whether he dived or something.
Right.
And
It's just-
football,
did you-
everything.
Yeah,
Lots of variables.
it's interesting. Is it 3-dimensional? Like, will you know how far off
don't
the
know.
field they are?
Not sure. I'm sure we'll all be. There'll be lots of promos for this on TV this coming season.
I bet we'll see bananas replays and stuff. I bet what they'll do is license Madden to do CGI replays of player movements.
I don't see why they can't just do all that with, like some sort of newfangled Connect. Just do it with video.
Or LiDAR scanning
LiDAR,
nonstop, spinning in the middle of the stadium.
Put a QR code on the top of their helmet and on either shoulder pad, on the edges of their hands, and like have 16
augmented
cameras.
reality. You go in the game, you put on your augmented reality glasses, and you get above the players as you're watching their names.
Yeah,
Like you can track them.
that would be great.
I mean, with this, you can. With the RFID, they could absolutely develop a augmented reality glass system where, as you're watching the game in real time, you see their names and their stats above the player
That
heads,
would be
and
very
someone
cool.
would program that.
Yeah, but if you could do what Will's saying and reproduce the game virtually, you could do it in VR and go on the field with them.
Yeah, like hover behind them. You get third-person live football. That's what I want. I want to go to the stadium, put on my goggles and my headset.
You could be the ball, perspective of the ball.
You could be the ball.
Throw me.
Spinning! The spinning was a terrible idea. They shouldn't have done this. I'm so dizzy.
Catch me! No.
Oh, it was a terrible idea. Hey, you want to hear something cool that Verizon's doing?
Yeah.
They're throttling unlimited users' data, LTE unlimited users, who are accessing high traffic cells. So if you are a Verizon customer who has one of the grandfathered in unlimited data plans for LTE, the LTE spectrum only, and you're in the top 5% of users, when you connect to a high traffic cell, a cell that is currently experiencing a high load volume,
You mean like a cell tower?
a cell tower,
Yeah.
then they will throttle your connection. Dun dun dun. I think that sounds perfectly reasonable. As a Verizon non-unlimited plan customer.
That's funny. So, but if I am in
Haves and haves not.
if I just haven't been using the internet a whole lot lately, I'm not in the top 5%.
You're not in the top 5%.
Then I'm unthrottled.
Go nuts.
Interesting.
I feel like,
Unlimited's unlimited.
however, with a shared network like a cell network where everybody pulls from the same pool of bandwidth that's in the bubble around that tower, then
Build more towers.
there's only a limited amount of spectrum. At some point, you reach a point where more towers doesn't do any good.
They're not saying, by the way, Norm, that you can download less data. They're saying you can download
Your
data
speeds are going to
slower.
suck. Yeah.
So it's still
It's still
unlimited.
throttling.
It's still unlimited.
I guess. They have to offer
I'll
share your
just be
service.
devil's advocate.
Yes.
I'm like, I feel like if you're talking about like point to point, if theoretically cell data was a point to point connection where everyone shared, there was no sharing of data across cells in an area, this would be ridiculous, right? But since in the real world where we live, everybody who connects to one cell shares the same maximum pool of LTE data that's available, I'm okay throttling people who are hogs so that the people who are just getting text messages and emails continue to have a
But what
decent
about
service.
the people? It's the same idea for cable because they're all sharing one cable connection.
Yes, I'm okay with throttling hogs on cable too.
Well, the Verizon and cable company in this example are the ones who decide who the hogs are.
So what Verizon is saying, I think the problem
And if
is
it's relative, top 5%, and that's even worse. It's not even absolute.
Here's the problem: is that they're not throttling the top 5% of metered plan users. Like if I'm an 8 gig a month metered plan user, and I use usually between 5 and 6 gigs, which puts me in the top 5%, they should be throttling me as well, but they're not because I'm not on the grandfathered in plan that they're trying to get rid of.
Wow. So they just want people to get on the metered plans.
They want to get people on the metered
Well,
plans.
they also make money if you go over your limit.
But that's the least of the.
But if they let you use more bandwidth, you'll reach that limit sooner.
That's
what
true.
I'm saying.
Yes,
And they're hoping you do.
that is absolutely true. That is a good point. I didn't think about that. Anyway, the FCC's pissed. They're saying that it might be Wheeler is the FCC chairman. Tom Wheeler, is that right?
Sure.
Might as well be. Is saying that this might be a violation of the 700 megahertz Block C spectrum sale terms. Remember that a few years ago? I think this was when we were still at Maximum PC, when Google and Verizon were fighting over access to what became Verizon's LTE band, and basically Google forced Verizon to agree to terms that said it's open network, anybody can connect to it, you can't filter it, you can't limit it, which is why you can do things like AT&T can say, yeah, no, we're not going to let people FaceTime over LTE. Verizon, you have no choice. They have to let them do it. I mean, if the spirit of what Verizon is saying is true, I mean, this is also a situation where the interpretation is very vague, and Verizon could be is clearly saying one thing, and probably is meaning another, meaning that they're using this as an excuse to drive people away from unlimited plans. I don't know. I think telecoms all suck. That's the takeaway.
And it's all temporary. I mean, eventually, compression, bandwidth, it's all going to balance out. People are going to have as much as they need. That's what I think.
I don't think that people are ever going to have as much bandwidth as they need.
Yeah, I think that's a short
640K is all the memory you're ever going to need, Jeremy.
Yeah, I know. But that eventually became untrue. But now we more or less have as much memory as we need for the time being. I think we're probably going to have as much bandwidth as we need. Who knows how long it'll take.
6G.
Maybe another decade or two.
LTM.
But I think we're going to be all right.
Oculus DK2 teardown by iFixit reveals a Samsung panel inside. Also,
Wait.
Yeah.
More specifically,
yes.
when iFixit took apart the DK2, and we'll talk about DK2 in a little bit,
because we've been testing it.
It's the actual Samsung Galaxy Note 3 panel. It says Samsung on. It's like as if you took the panel
out of the phone,
with all the markings. It says in top Samsung, and just put it in the Oculus.
I'm not super surprised by that. Samsung manufactures that panel, right?
It's like not even special. Like it's not even. We're not talking about just the panel. We're talking about like the whole piece.
I know.
It's probably cheaper that way.
Yeah, why not do it that way? Then they don't have to build their own electronics and driver board and all that stuff.
It is a Galaxy Note 3.
That's why they signed that Samsung deal, right?
But, well, that's not confirmed.
Okay. Presumably, that's why they signed that Samsung deal.
It's why Samsung will also make their own
cardboard.
Yes, Google Cardboard made by Samsung for Oculus Rift. It's running at 75 hertz.
The panel is.
The panel is.
Is that what the phone runs at?
60.
Okay.
Well, it's also running with a low persistence thing, which the phone doesn't do.
Right. So extra hardware.
We'll talk more about the DK2 and what we're testing.
Right, but the iFixit also showed the teardown also showed 40 LEDs, IR LEDs, and
how are they distributed?
Pretty evenly. There's actually a photo of the using IR camera, so you see it actually lit up.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
I love that stuff.
Huh. So yeah, it looks like they're all in the anywhere that the shell covers basically.
But the coolest thing about this photo is it tells you where you can put a sticker.
Oh, that's true.
Right?
Because nice.
It tells you
because it comes with a thing that says don't put stickers.
Because people used to put like,
Googly
eyes and other things, and now don't put
you could be a Cyclops
you could
pretty
right
safely.
there, one big Google eye right in the middle top. Except actually that's the battery cover charger, or not the port cover charger.
Yeah.
But that works. That still works.
Yeah, I don't need access to that.
Yeah. So put a Googly sticker there. Perfect. That's an outside
the box
Oculus
thinking,
logo. The logo is one eye.
One eye.
There you go.
Yeah.
Which is funny for a company that's all about 3D stereoscopy.
Yeah.
There's more Comcast Ryan Block fallout. Remember? Did you hear about that?
Yeah.
Did we talk about this?
We played a clip of it 2 weeks ago.
Oh right. Okay. So if you don't remember this, Ryan Block, a friend of the site, Ryan Block, and Veronica Belmont tried to call and cancel their Comcast, and they got a guy who just wouldn't take please turn off my service for an answer.
And Comcast had issued an apology.
They issued an apology, and then I lost that post.
And
actually.
our
oh no, here it is.
Takeaway was we were hoping that Comcast would address their internal their call center practices.
So we heard some stuff. Yeah, we heard an official apology. We heard stories about like grandmothers calling to cancel Comcast and getting the same treatment. You know, the normal kind of follow-on stories for this. I also got a couple of anonymous. They're not anonymous letters, but they had to be anonymized. People who work for Comcast doing or claim to work for Comcast. Let's be clear. In this type of call center or doing call center management for Comcast that said explicitly our call volume to cancel has decreased dramatically following the publication of this story.
And are they giving better deals?
Are
they offering deals?
No, I'm just saying people heard this and were hence afraid to call to cancel. So the widespread running of this story has had the exact opposite effect.
That's crazy.
And fewer people are canceling Comcast because they are afraid of this.
Oh my God!
Right,
but
two different emails said the same thing.
I want to call to get the best deal.
Yeah, they'll always offer you a better deal.
I want to get a better deal.
Let's do it. You want to do it live right now? I can pipe the Skype through.
Let's do it next week when I have my information and we can have proper way to mute
we can
me
block
when
you.
I say my personal information.
Okay. We got to not do it. Hold on. I don't think we can do that in California because it's a legal wiretap.
That's so
what?
Yeah.
No one's gonna care. If I get a better deal, it'll be fine.
I don't want to go to jail.
Remember,
Norm.
as we
they
hear,
would trade me like currency.
As we hear,
That'd be great
you have
for
the
testing.
issue with prison and currency. As we hear them
Look at
say,
this face.
this call may be.
It's
monitored.
not Orange is the New Black in men's prison, man. It's not all like crafts and electronics and shit.
As we hear them tell us that this call may be monitored, we will also just say over that, yes, this call is also monitored too.
That's smart.
Oh, okay, totally.
There you go.
You're not
Yeah.
a lawyer, though.
So you went to law school, obviously.
Yeah.
Yes.
Norman
No.
Chan, Esquire.
We'll be fine. I want a better deal.
There is, and then after you do yours, you can do mine. Here is the memo that Comcast sent to employees after the incident went viral. I'm going to read it in as much as I can get through. Special bulletin, customer interaction policy reminder. This was on The Verge. Comcast is committed to delivering outstanding service to each and every customer. It is our goal to ensure that every customer with whom we interact has a quality experience. I wonder what Ryan would say about his quality experience. Each encounter we have with the customer defines Comcast in that particular customer's eyes. Favorable interactions yield favorable impressions, and unfavorable interactions yield unfavorable or negative impressions of the company, capital C.
No shit.
Therefore, we require that all employees refrain from any form of rude, inappropriate, or unprofessional behavior. Please remember to treat all customers with the utmost respect. Recently, an unfavorable phone call into Comcast has been circulating on the internet. Our Senior Vice President of Customer Experience for Comcast Cable posted the following apology on our company's website, Comcast Voices blog, and spoke directly to the customers. Action required. Please read the statement to customers below to customers for this particular call. We are embarrassed by the way our employees spoke with Mr. Block and Ms. Belmont and are contacting them to personally apologize. The way in which our representative communicated with them is unacceptable and not consistent with how we train our customer service representatives. We are investigating this situation and will take quick action. With the overwhelming majority of our employees work very hard to do the right thing every day, we are using this very unfortunate experience to reinforce how important it is to always treat our customers with the utmost respect. Action required. If you receive a call from the media regarding this incident, please refer to the media inquiry policy to transfer them to your local media contact. For more information about the customer interaction interface policy, please view your employee handbook, blah, 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 blah. This policy may be visible to internal employees only. All others should use their local policies or speak with the training teams for more information. They didn't ever say, they said, don't be rude, but they didn't say, hey, we know you've listened to this. Don't fucking do this.
Yeah, or which one of you jerks did this?
Right.
Which one of you idiots
we know.
did this?
Yeah. Hey, knucklehead. I wish that 30 Rock was still on TV. Because I would love to see the 30 Rock Alec Baldwin take on this debacle next season. Anyway. So, anything else on Comcast? You guys are both happy Comcast customers. Oh no, you're.
I am.
You are.
All I have is internet, but we don't have video.
I've seen an increased number of Comcast Xfinity ads saying how helpful they are for moving.
Oh, I'm
They're
sure.
the only people who help you with moves. There's an ad where a young lady calls all her friends to help her move, and all her friends are in weird places or unavailable. It sucks. And then, guess who helps her move? Makes her moving experience easier. Comcast.
All right, there it is.
Jeremy, I think your new house is in an area that is serviced by Astound, which is 110 megabit fiber.
You're kidding. I've already set up Comcast.
Well, don't try to cancel that.
No, obviously I won't try now because I've heard this Ryan Block phone call.
$25 a month.
$25 a month for 100 megabits?
For limited time, for the first year.
And then what does it go up to?
I don't have any idea.
It's gotta be.
They never fucking tell you that.
They do in the small print usually. At least Comcast does in the small print.
$84.95 a month with for cable internet and phone.
But no TV.
That's for 55 megabit. For 100 megabit, it's faster. It's more expensive.
I might look into it.
We hear lots of good things. When I bitched about this a couple weeks ago, lots of people said, hey, if you're in San Francisco, you can get us down. I was like, not in Pacifica.
Fiber?
I don't know. 110 megabit. That's all I know.
All right.
That's a lot of megabits.
Sure is.
I don't really know what a megabit looks like, but I know I want more of them.
Me too.
It's a tenth of a gigabit.
Mario Kart has not saved Nintendo. They moved 2.8 million copies during the launch window, 2 months, but only 500,000 new Wii U sales from April to June. That's twice what they sold last year, but a drop in the bucket.
Give it time.
Relatively
Give
speaking.
it time. These Nintendo consoles always need a little time.
Dude, all the third parties have pulled the ripcord and they're flying out of the back of the airplane now.
Yeah, well, it's always been when you got a new interface, you can't do cross-platform. It's kind of a mess.
Yeah.
But they've always relied on their first-party stuff. Just
It's a first-party console.
Yeah.
iPhone Sapphire screen. I was thinking about this on the plane back from ComiCon. Apple has over the years done an unbelievable job with the logistics, and not just the logistics of getting the parts that they need, but like building products that push the need for components that they think are going to be important, so that then they can be a year or two ahead of everyone else on it. So if you look at like the iPod Nano, which drove up demand, and the iPod, what was the Shuffle? The Shuffle and the Nano drove up demand for flash memory at such a massive scale that they were able to ramp the production of flash memory, and they were able to buy all of Samsung's inventory for X number of years, which then gave them the capacity to do massive amounts of flash memory in iPhones and iPads 5 and 7 years down the line. And I think that they're doing it again with Sapphire. Like if you look at the transition from Sapphire for the lens cover to Sapphire for the home button on the iPhone 5S to presumably Sapphire for the entire front screen, and hopefully at some point Sapphire for the entire thing in the future, like it gave them a way to go from minuscule production of very small pieces to bigger production of bigger pieces to presumably massive sheets of this stuff.
And Tim Cook, being the operations guy, he's the mastermind behind
that. And he's been doing it for a long time.
Did you watch that second video
of Sapphire?
The Sapphire testing?
No.
So we watched the first one where the YouTuber
Yep.
He says he has a screen, a 4.7-inch screen of the iPhone 6.
Okay.
And did some testing, tried to bend it, and it was very tough to bend.
Did you whack it with a hammer?
Ran a knife across it, and he barely saw scratches. And he did a second round of testing just on the screen about the actual durability.
So he had never broke it.
He never broke it.
Yeah.
And then he did a second video, which was much better, talking about the actual hardness levels of Sapphire, because there's a whole rating, a whole scale.
Yeah.
Diamond being hardest, and then Sapphire.
Talc.
And then there's a whole rating system, and you can actually buy different grit sandpaper that approaches that rating system.
It's the Mohs scale, right?
It is the Mohs scale. And when he did the testing with the sandpaper, because the knife actually isn't a great test, because the steel or whatever is not up to that, and the sandpaper can be. He did light sandpaper. It was easy to scuff with the hardest sandpaper, and even the lightest sandpaper. And his conclusion, and looking into Apple's filings for patents, showed that what Apple had actually filed a patent for wasn't pure sapphire displays, was composite sapphire displays. So that what's likely, if his testing proves true, is that the iPhone 6 display will be a composite that's mostly sapphire, but also has other types of glass built in, which is why it can scuff. Which is different from the lens cover and the Touch ID button right now, which is pure sapphire.
And on the Mohs scale, they're 9s.
Yes, they're 9s. But using like a sandpaper that's rated to scuff things are rated 7 or 8, he was actually able to scuff and heavily scratch the new screen.
Topaz and quartz. Topaz is 8 and quartz is 7. Most quartz glass, like Gorilla Glass and Pyrex and stuff like that, comes in around a 7, 5.5 to 7 somewhere.
Yeah. So when you're talking about what they're predicting, is it just a coating on regular glass, or is the glass infused with sapphire?
I think infused. It's not.
I think it has to be.
And that's what they've patented. That not only are they manufacturing and they bought sapphire production facilities, but they also have found a way to get the most sapphire, the most cost-efficient way, because it's expensive to get it in that large panel.
Yeah.
But it's still, I think they're still going to come out in September or whenever and say this is your unbreakable phone. And I think it would be smart to throw in that warranty. If your glass breaks,
we'll fix it.
We'll replace it.
That is that's not Apple's way.
I think that that would be a way.
If they're going to say it's unbreakable, they have to.
Yeah. And they eventually did at the end of this YouTube video. A bunch of YouTubers got together with what's the name from Fear Factor, Joe Rogan, and they shot an arrow through the glass and did shatter.
One of the thing I was thinking about on the plane was Elon Musk and Tesla and Solar City. So both of those are things that both of those businesses had major supply constraints in batteries on Tesla and solar cells for Solar City. And over time, like the old way is that you would wait for somebody else to figure out another company to figure out how to bypass those supply constraints. And the Apple way and the Tesla way is that they're going out and doing it. Like they're figuring out, here's what we need to do.
Starting out small,
and
then ramping up.
Like how many Tesla S's did they sell? I mean, sorry, the Roadsters did they sell? A few thousand?
Yeah, well, more
maybe
than that,
10.
probably. Yeah, I don't know.
And a super small battery in that thing on up to, shipping thousands.
Right. But the point was like they bought the body from Lotus.
Yeah.
And they really worked on the batteries.
And they were building supply for the battery the whole time, to the point that they're going to build a factory now for future Teslas that will get them to shipping 500,000 units a year, is I think the goal in 2017 or 2019 or something like that, which is insane. It's crazy. USB malware. This was an interesting story. This is the don't ever plug your USB into your computer is the takeaway I got from this.
USB everything.
That's trouble because I have to do that.
Yeah.
Don't use strange thumb drives. Don't use strange phones.
We've talked about the best practices with thumb drives in the past. Like, if you get a thumb drive from a manufacturer or something, or don't plug it into.
Don't buy off-brand thumb drives.
Yeah. And if you're traveling, don't plug in thumb drives from other countries in your computer. But researchers Black Hat conference next week in Las Vegas, and these researchers from some security firm have shown and they developed specific malware that lives in the firmware of USB.
So not even in the file system?
Not in the file system, not in the flash, but in the firmware that tells the computer that it's USB.
Wait, the firmware on the thumb drive?
On any USB device.
Really?
So all USB stuff has an underlying operating system that basically manages the connection.
Huh.
And it will live there. And so we're talking about USB keyboards that can have the malware, and it's not no virus detectors scan for that because they just scan file system.
And nobody runs virus detectors anyway anymore.
Sure. And then so theoretically with this, it can propagate easily, and you can plug in, and it can live in your computer, and then transfer to other USB devices. They basically reverse engineered the firmware.
It's basically like a BIOS virus that ran across floppy drives from 20, 30 years ago.
And it can do things like tap into anything USB can do. So access file system, replace keystrokes,
track keystrokes. What do all USB devices run? Like, how much diversity is there in chips that run the firmware for USB connections? Is it just like one or two vendors, or is there a shitload of stuff out there? Do we know?
I don't know.
Don't know.
Interesting.
So there's these people putting these little drop things around New York City where they embed USB sticks into concrete.
Don't do that.
Yeah, I suppose you probably wouldn't want to use those either.
Don't plug your stuff in. It's filthy. Filthy. Would you?
Treat it like a needle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Use it once, throw it away.
It's interesting though. Get a safe computer, hook it up, see what's on there.
Oh.
Can you scan for this? Is there a tool out now?
Not yet.
That will allow you to.
I'm sure somebody will roll something out in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
It seems like this was stuff that was developed to demonstrate at Black Hat, not stuff that's actually circulating in the wild, right? It really reminds me of the bootloader viruses. You remember those where you'd get a floppy disk, you put it in, you forget and reboot your. No, it was more than that. It was the 80s and early 90s. You forget the way they worked though was you had to reboot the computer with the floppy in, and that would infect the MBR or the boot record on whatever drives you had and other floppy disks you put in and all that. It was a mess.
Oh, I don't remember that. I remember the bootloader copy protection stuff. That was a problem.
Oh, the rootkits and all that stuff.
Yeah, games were installing. Right, rootkits.
Yeah, those were bad. I think that's it for news, unless we have anything else. I feel like we forgot some stuff, but there we go. Let's play some music.
You didn't mention ComiCon. I don't know if you want to.
We'll talk about what we've been testing.
All right.
Here's the music. Norman Chen.
Yep.
We were at Comic-Con last week.
Yep.
You shot, let's say, 784.
I filtered those out of 1,500.
Really nice cosplay photos. We haven't talked about what you shoot cons with lately, so I think people were curious to know.
Kept it real simple this year with borrowed Adam's Canon 5D Mark III.
Okay.
And then I used my 24-70 f2 $2,000 lens.
For every shot?
Every shot.
How about that?
I did bring a 50mm 1.4, but I just didn't have the time or energy to swap lenses.
So previously you carried your 6G and Adam's 5D Mark III with different lenses, right? So you could swap back and forth?
I believe at last year's Comic-Con I did that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just it was easier to travel lighter this year?
Much easier. And that camera's really heavy.
The 5D?
Super heavy.
What did you like? What kind of strap did you use? Did you use a strap? Were you freehanding?
I use a strap, but it's I mostly freehand. I carry it because I give him shoulder bags, and
Okay.
it's the same strap I got last year.
Like
the
that
same-
quick sling thing?
Yeah.
Autofocus?
Oh yeah, always autofocus, center focus.
What mode?
Shoot and aperture priority with ISO. On the 5D, you can set on most cameras when you shoot RAW, or when you shoot anything, you can set your minimum and maximum ISO, and minimum ISO 100. You don't ever want to go below 100 because that just fakes it. Maximum ISO.
Hold on, what do you mean it fakes it?
It does some. It I don't know if I can explain this. It brightens your image. That's probably the best way to explain it.
So it shoots it.
It overexposes.
Okay.
And then you can cap the max ISO. I capped mine at 3200, which is fine for indoors. And then for the 5D, you can actually set the minimum shutter speed. So I set it 125.
Oh, so that way you don't get blurry shots. What do you do for post? So but you don't use a flash, you don't use a monopod, anything like that.
No.
You're walking around yelling out character names. Like before you go to ComiCon, do you get flashcards with all the characters that you don't know, so you can like yell? Because like the thing that you do when you're walking on ComiCon is you say, "Hey, Akira, can I get a shot?" And then they turn around.
You couldn't have
pose.
recognized all of those
absolutely
guys.
not.
No.
And then there was one instance where I think there was some entrapment going on.
Hold on, explain.
I was walking down and I saw this guy walking. He had some face makeup, and I wanted to get the picture of his makeup, like prosthetics and stuff. And he looked like a bird creature, like a Hawkman type creature, and he was wearing in like an admiral's uniform, kind of like Adam's.
Akbar. Yeah.
So I said, "Can I take a photo of your makeup?" So when I don't know the character, I ask for a photo of their makeup or their costume, something that stands out. Sometimes it's just makeup jobs that look cool. Or and then he goes, "Sure." He goes, "No problem." And the action was like, "No problem, but do you know who I am?" And I'm sorry, I don't know. Who are you? He goes, "Guess who I am." I'll play along. You're getting a photo of you, so you look like some character from an '80s cartoon or something. Like he had like feathers and stuff. Like, well, keep on guessing. Like, what is this? And like, you like an owl, a bird? He goes, keep on getting closer. I'm like, is it like an eagle? A hawk? He goes, now look at here. What are these? I'm like, those are whiskers. I was like, now what am I? I'm like, I don't know. And like at this point, I'm like, I don't know what's going on.
I'd rather not take this picture anymore.
Yeah, exactly. I just want to leave this interaction. It seems a little weird, but you know,
That's when Chris Matthews jumps out.
If he has a bond with the character, then I want to know, right?
Yeah.
So I'm curious.
He
at this
obviously
point,
cares.
right? So okay, those are whiskers. Is it a mouse? He's like, no, a cat. He goes, yes. So I am. I'm like,
Cat hawk.
Cat hawk. He goes, hawk cat. Yes. I am Hawkcat. Goes, that's a really obscure reference. I've never heard of that. Goes, it's not obscure. It's a comic book, a popular comic book from the 80s. I'm like, well, it's obscure for me. I wasn't reading it back then. He goes, oh, okay. And so I take his picture, and I continue walking, and then not 5 seconds later, this guy runs up and goes, you just spoke Hawkcat. Can you sign this release?
What?
And he had a note, like
Did you sign it?
binder. I'm like, I'm sorry. What was that? He goes, you just talked with Hawkcat. Sign this release. Sign this appearance release. I'm like, can I see? And it's like legal documentation.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't want to sign that.
So you're going to be blurred.
And then he goes, you just signed with Hawkeye. Sign this release. He was really adamant. He kept on. And I said, I don't know. I'm going to just sign this appearance release. Sign this appearance. And then I would say no. And then he would like had a microphone and a head like a Secret Service. And he started mumbling into it.
He won't sign it.
Yeah, he won't sign it. It's like blah, 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 blah.
Put him in the
And
van.
I'm like, whoa, you know what? I'm not going to sign any legal documents without reading them. So I'm just going to I'm just going to walk away.
Yeah.
And so I just walked away.
You didn't use the photo.
I should have taken a photo of his contract.
Yeah.
Why did you have to sign a release? Because it's public release for all appearance there.
Yes, it's public release for any appearance there, except for when there's some type of
Broadcast
interaction.
or something. Oh.
Like if there's an interaction, I think it was a comedy bit.
Yeah, you were
target for a.
You were to be on Kimmel.
10 seconds
if you weren't
after
careful.
that, I pulled out my phone and Googled no character
Hawkcat
named Hawkcat or Cat Hawk
From the 80s.
from anything.
Not obscure.
The joke is probably, hey, people walk up and are like, oh man, I love Hawkcat, blah blah blah. Like get them to admit that there's a character that doesn't exist.
Or maybe it was just a meta other person, like in costume, as the lawyer for Hawkcat.
That's possible.
right?
Bananas.
I don't know about that. He wasn't
It's a
he was a
stretch.
dude in a
That's
t-shirt.
a
Looked like a
stretch. I'm just
production dude.
suggesting it.
I had Googled Hot Cat yesterday, and Stephen Colbert name dropped him in his Comic-Con bit.
You're kidding.
He's like, "Oh, you can go to Comic-Con as sexy Boba Fett and like a Ninja Turtle, Hot Cat," and had the same photo.
Oh, that's weird.
And so Stephen Colbert might have been fooled or in on it.
Yeah.
It could be a Colbert bit. You could have missed your opportunity to be on Colbert.
I don't think he was Colbert.
It probably wasn't
if
Colbert.
That was, I have a photo. I have the photo, and I've looked at it, and Colbert was at Comic-Con, but I don't think that was Colbert.
That's interesting.
Yeah. If it was Colbert, then I wish I'd said
Oh, I saw your face. You're thinking about it now. It could have been Colbert.
There is a
that could be
segment.
wishful thinking.
Magical Afternoon at Comic-Con is what comes up when you search for Hawk Cat
What? Wait a minute.
from Colbert. There's a segment.
Oh no! See that was the
That's the
segment
thing
he
you're talking
did
about?
where he
Okay.
did it. He just had images flash behind me as he was talking.
What do you do like when
My immediate thought. Hold on. My immediate thought when
Yeah.
that happened, I was like, "This is entrapment for people taking photos," and it's about a story who people gratuitously taking photos of cosplayers. And I'm like, "Whoa! I don't want to be a part of this at all."
that's
Because I had a very respectful conversation with you, so I'm glad. Like, if you even blur me out, it doesn't make me look like an asshole. But I don't want to be part of this.
So, do you when you're walking around, do you leave memos? Like when we went to South by and we got like celebrity photos taken of us with Adam after the South by panel. The photographers were all like Will Smith. They take the picture and they'd be like Adam Savage tested.com, Will Smith tested.com, Norman
Some
Chan
cameras
tested.com.
have it built in.
Like a little voice memo that then attaches it to the picture, I assume,
Yes.
right?
I did not do that.
Okay. And let's see. So when you get back, you process. What did you do? This rolls into the
Manually
next
edit
thing.
every photo
Do you load them up into Lightroom or something?
in Lightroom. Manually go through every one and.
You have to go through how many? Like 4 times as many as you ended up on test.
Well,
twice.
I filter
because
on site.
you take a ton
So
of pictures, I assume,
I
of
take
every
5
character.
of every one.
Yeah.
With 2 poses, so two full body. Depends on the costume, but 2 full body shots and 2 portraits.
Yeah.
And then as I'm going, as I walk away.
You delete on the fly.
I delete on the fly.
That's so smart.
And I immediately delete the blurry ones, and then I'm trained my brain to do A/B testing, very close A/B testing. Like, okay, is eye looking at me? Am I cutting, cropping out?
Yep.
And then you just choose. 'Cause
You zoom in a little bit.
I zoom in, and then even if 2 photos look almost exactly the same, something's gonna be different.
Yep.
Background. This one has one person in the background that I want. This one has the very slight different pose, and
Yep.
you just gotta pick one.
Good.
Right there. And then I only save that, and then I load everything on. So 2,000 photos loaded, and then cull from that, and then edit from that.
There you go. Comic-Con secrets unveiled.
Everyone has their pose. That's what I found interesting.
Oh, yeah.
They
It's like-
practice.
and I noticed with Adam's stuff, he went on the floor knowing what pose he was going to do.
Oh, yeah.
Like he's got his hands up on his helmet.
He. I mean, I don't know. I can't speak for everybody, but Adam absolutely practices poses
Yeah.
because you spend years in some cases working on a costume, or at least hundreds of hours.
But it's not just cosplay. I mean, it's not it's not just like you're in the role. It's like you have a pose in mind. It's like
yeah.
you're ready for a photograph.
Well, you take the time with the costume on when you're trying on the costume to see what shows off the best stuff, so you get the best possible display of your
I
costume.
thought that was pretty cool.
You also ask them to do different. If it's an interaction, like sometimes they do like some characters are like Mandalorian Boba Fett, or it'll be a Thor and a Loki, and they'll have like together they'll have their series of planned interactions. You ask them to do a couple different interactions, and they like to play along.
Yeah, Thor 2, Thor 1.
I mean, as long
villain,
as it's not gratuitous.
friend.
It's not like show me your boobs, right? It's not that at all. It's like I want to get the prosthetic you have here. Show me that prosthetic, and I'll get close up to
The
that.
Pulp Fiction guys, the John Travolta and
they
Samuel
knew.
L. Jackson,
They knew.
they were on Reddit. I don't know if you saw that, but
Oh, no.
9,000 votes.
Holy crap! I definitely got photos of them.
I saw.
Yeah, your picture was better. It looked like it was almost at exactly the same spot. Like the guy standing next to you got top Reddit.
I'm not bitter.
You tested. You did the photo processing on the Surface Pro 3.
I did some of it on the
This
Surface
was
Pro
an
3.
opportunity to lead into the Surface Pro 3 part of what we've been testing.
Long lead in. Sorry.
Sorry, it's okay.
The high resolution matters a lot. The high
Do you like
resolution
it?
display.
How's the performance?
It's as fast as I would expect a high-end PC laptop to be. I have not done games on it yet, and this, I believe, a storage on here. Yeah, I have 256 gigs. So
You did the processing on this?
some of the processing.
Oh.
Yeah,
What's faster than your laptop, right?
and it was Lightroom because I Dropbox it, and
In San Diego?
in San Diego, I did everything in San Diego. Exporting, I did everything after syncing it up. I did exporting on both the.
When you do Lightroom in Dropbox, do you just put the catalog file in Dropbox, right? The Lightroom
I put the
catalog?
smart previews, and the
Right.
and the catalog.
But the smart previews are in the catalog, aren't they?
I think so. Maybe
Yeah.
it's whatever the Lightroom folder is.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a big my Dropbox.
It's like
I
20
have-
gigs, right?
It's massive, and there's a ton of files. So syncing Dropbox
Yeah.
to new computers suck.
I noticed
I take that off with most computers.
the ton of computers thing I noticed for sure. We're going to just shoot a video for that next week that'll be up in a couple of weeks, I think. But it seems like you quite like it.
I do like it.
Pro 3.
I like it a lot. I wish Windows had better DPI management. I still don't.
You mean so that you can
Some things are.
like content windows are like the way OS 10 does it is pretty good, where content windows are high DPI but frame is scaled up, so like the tabs in Chrome are appropriate size,
Right.
and UI Chrome and stuff like that is right, but you still get the benefit of the higher resolution inside the canvas. I have to say, I noticed I was on Verizon. I'm on Verizon for phone. ComiCon, I had the best cell service I've ever had at ComiCon this year. Like it worked consistently. I was getting text messages when they were sent. I was getting iMessages, which usually are the first thing that stops working. I was able to check email and Twitter and send post pictures and the whole thing from the floor.
And you are in the throttled category, no?
No.
Oh, you're not. Okay, well maybe that's
Yeah,
at work.
fuck those high speed guys.
Yeah, Joey. I mean, we stayed at Airbnb, and Joey is Verizon Unlimited, and I uploaded all my stuff through his phone
Oh.
because
Congratulations, Joey. Now you're throttled.
no, it was only a gig or something.
I don't know. I was really pleasantly surprised. Hotel internet was even good. It's usually bad. Like they Comic-Con upped its internet game this year. Verizon, AT&T. I mean, how was your AT&T phone, Norm? Did you notice?
It was
you
bad on one night,
the party night?
the party night.
Yeah, Friday night was busy. Jeremy, you bought a 3D printer.
Oh gosh.
Your first 3D printer.
I sure did. Well, thanks to you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Because I watched at least some of the 5 parts of the printer butt build.
Okay.
And ended up going with that one because I figured you guys had done the research. And after I did the research, I was like, okay, well, people seem to like it.
It seemed like the best option in the sub $1,000.
Right.
I mean, there's probably something better at like $900, but for essentially $500 and change, it's great.
But I read the Make magazine rundown, and it didn't seem like the prints for the $2,000 printers were going to be drastically better, if at all.
Not 4 times as good.
There might be bigger.
They'll be bigger, and maybe the print speed is a little faster because their travel speed's a little bit better.
Comes with a heated bed, maybe, but
Yeah.
I don't need that. I'm happy with PLA because I'm going to be doing it around my kids a lot, and I don't want any nasty smells.
Yeah.
And the PLA is fine.
The heated build platform does help with PLA, just for what
Does
it's
it?
worth.
I thought it was just for ABS.
No, you set the heated build platform to 60 Celsius for PLA. It makes it super sticky and really good.
Even with tape on it?
With taped cap, I use Kapton and PLA at 60 Celsius, and it works great.
Okay, that's good to know
Yeah.
because I have had some things come off the tape. But yeah, I have been immersed. I mean, I got it Monday, and I've printed out.
You got it pre-assembled?
The lower jaw.
he bought the
I
pre-assembled.
did pre-assemble just 'cause I don't have any time. But I did the lower jaw that you did of the T-Rex.
You did it at a higher resolution. It still looks really good.
No, lower resolution.
Well,
Yeah, higher micron.
higher microns, yeah.
And I did a tiny little robot. My wife asked for a juicer.
Okay.
A
Did
lemon
you get
juicer.
food safe PLA?
Isn't it?
I guess
it's
all
all
food-
made
I
from
guess all-
vegetables.
It's
That's great.
The difference between food safe and not food safe is that they make sure that there's no manufacturing residue on the outside, so like it doesn't pick up. They use food safe grease in the machine that makes the plastic pellets into stuff.
Really?
I don't use stuff from our 3D printer in a food context.
Okay, well that's
It's
good to
probably
know.
okay. It's probably totally fine.
Yeah.
But I have a little kid, and we spend a lot of money on organic produce and shit. So
Thanks for telling me. I appreciate that. Now I can, if it is food safe. I mean, this can go in the dishwasher, right?
Should be able
Unless
to,
the
I
dishwasher
think.
hits 200 degrees Celsius, I'm fine.
yeah, I can't imagine it's
Yeah.
going to hit 200 degrees Celsius since there's water in there.
I love it. I mean, I'm only doing it like after the kids go to bed till bedtime, but it's put me up till 1 a.m. the past 3 nights.
It's super fun.
I love it.
I actually I've been printing. I've upped my SketchUp game. I've gotten pretty good at SketchUp lately.
That's like next week. I'm only printed things on Thingiverse.
Well, so once I realized that in order, because the problem I always had with SketchUp before is that you draw, the way SketchUp works is you draw it in 2D and then you just extrude it up however much you want it, and then you can do some kind of carving and stuff like that. But I never do anything more complex. I do 2D stuff that I can draw, and then I extrude it up, and then I attach that stuff to each other. And I didn't realize that the way you make components, which is what you make, the way you make something solid instead of just a 2D extrusion, is that you have to make it a component, and then that makes it a solid object that you can export to STL and will print. So I made these brackets for a project. Well, you'll see tomorrow.
Okay.
Sorry, it's on the mystery object.
Well, you helped me make the thing last week.
The reamers.
The reamer for my for the game frame assembly, and it's great.
Did you glue a bunch of them together?
I glued one onto a handle.
Okay.
And it's like store-bought. It's wonderful.
Perfect. I'm so glad.
So I'm just loving 3D printing.
How long was your printer?
It's addicting.
Like from the time you took it out of the box till you got a print that you considered pretty good. Like you sent me a picture the night it came of you printing the fan shroud, I think, right?
Yep. And I would say it probably 4 or 5 hours.
Okay, so it's still not like out of the box in prints.
No, because I mean, it has the bed detector, so it shouldn't hit the bed, and you have to get that leveled. But then you have to offset in software where the actual hot end is.
Right, because you want it to
in relation to that.
You want it to kind of mash the plastic into the tape.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah. So I mean, that took me a few hours.
Okay.
Just because you're constantly going 1/10 of a millimeter.
Yeah.
And then you're adjusting another 10th.
But you don't have to print the whole thing to know it's
No.
going to fail. You just print the first few layers and you can tell.
Right. Yeah, but then you read people and they're talking about how there's this ideal spot where it smashes the filament just a little bit so that the two adjacent layers sort of mesh together just ever so slightly, and you're kind of looking for that.
It takes a long time to get there.
Yeah.
Although the thing on the printer, I haven't spent as much time with the printer bot as I'd like. I might actually take it home with me this weekend.
The one thing it doesn't have is a spool holder.
That's my next thing I got to build.
So I built that.
Oh, really? Which
Yeah.
one? Did you download one from Thingiverse or something?
Yeah, it was a well-rated one, and it works great.
Send me the link to the one that you ended up using.
I will.
I'd love to see that. It's. I think I'm just going to build a rack that goes underneath the table we have the printers on.
Yeah.
That'll just replace the spool holders on the back of the MakerBot, and I can put a row of plastic underneath and just feed it up from underneath the table.
Yeah, I see that in my future too.
Yeah.
Because I've already bought $200 in filament.
Well, the thing that I see a lot of people, if they have a fixed place that they use the printer, is they'll just take a screw rod from the hardware store and hang it from either end. The problem with that is when you want to take something off or on, then you have to take the whole fucking thing down.
Oh, right.
So it's a big hassle. But there's options. There's a lot of options, actually.
Yeah, I feel like I'm a late early adopter with this 3D printing that I've come
That's
to
good.
this in 2014.
There's less troubleshooting.
It seems, it just seemed like things had stopped progressing as fast as they were for a few years, and now we're sort of at this good point with the extruded filament that I might as well jump in now, get a feel for it, and then as things progress, maybe get another one in a few years.
I think we're at the limit, at least for the foreseeable future, of FDM printing, fused deposition modeling printing, the kind that poops the plastic out like the MakerBot and RepRap printers and all that use at like that 100 micron stage. And the things that'll improve here are kind of incremental. There are things, I mean, we've been at 100 micron for 2 years now, maybe 2.5, since the Replicator 1 came out. That was the first like widely distributed 0.1 millimeter printer that I saw.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I think we're in a good place with that stuff. And the PLA is really good. It's neat. I like ABS just because it's what I started with. I'm more familiar with it. But the PLA has some interesting properties, and you can do much steeper overhangs and stuff like that because it cools faster, and it doesn't shrink as much when it cools, so it doesn't pull apart as easily.
I was super excited. My 7-year-old son's really excited
I'm
about
sure,
it.
yeah.
So, I mean, he can't wait to get into and make his own stuff.
Well, you should get him, download like the 123D Sculpt and those kinds of things.
Is that the best for kids?
I mean, it is an analog to using clay. So he knows how to use clay, right?
Yep.
You can kind of do clay-like stuff with it. Obviously not with using your hands, but you can kind of push and prod and pull and stretch and all that stuff.
I'll check that out.
That's probably a good place to start, I would think.
Okay.
And you can export STLs from there, which is lets you print it and whatever. Let's see what else we've been testing. I took out the 3D Robotics X8, which is a quad with 8 motors, 8 propellers on it. It has 4 arms, 4 motors up, 4 motors down. And I took it out and flew the weekend before we went to ComiCon for the first time. Second. I flew once in the backyard and almost crashed into the tree that's 80 feet over my backyard. And I was like, I'm not going to fly this out of the backyard anymore. It's too scary.
To make it clear, this is a $2,000 copter.
It is a $2,000 quad.
We might have to return
Does
this.
it have all the stabilization features that the Phantom has?
Yes.
Okay.
So that's the thing I realized is once I took it out and actually flew it, I misunderstood you just like with the Phantom, you control the button placement. You control how it flies with the switches, like what mode it's in.
Mode it's in, yeah.
And I had it in I want to call it. They have way more modes than you have with the Phantom, and one of them is basically like it holds altitude, but it gives you much closer to a free flying control.
Like if you have a helicopter license, you want that mode.
Maybe if you know how to fly RC helicopters, like the kinds that don't have stabilization and all that stuff, probably that's better for you. Once I got in the right mode, it was actually a little bit more conservative even than the Phantom. Like, of course, you can go into the firmware and adjust all the variables for climb rate and all that stuff. But I took it out, and once I took off, I put it in the scary mode again, and it's super fun. Like, you can go really fast and like swoop and do big. You know how the Phantom kind of descends and ascends slowly.
Well, the Phantom has firmware you can add that unlocks all that stuff too.
Of course,
which I will never do.
I'm good. It turns out the stress level of flying the Phantom or flying the X8 when it's in the safe mode versus the stress level of flying this when it's in the scary mode is it's a whole ratcheted up level. So I went out to a soccer field near my house where there's nobody around. Took off, flew around a little bit. I don't have the gimbals on it yet. I haven't put the gimbals on it yet to mount a camera. I didn't have the FPV stuff because it doesn't use an app, so you have a second monitor.
Yeah.
And I don't have a second monitor to connect to it yet that runs on battery, and it's just scary. Like it's like I hadn't appreciated how kind of soup to nuts all in one that Phantom setup makes it. I was flying it without telemetry. I was just flying it like it was a straight RC thing because I didn't bring the right USB cable to plug. You can plug a telemetry radio into an Android tablet or phone and get like the copter's altitude, airspeed, GPS coordinates, place on a map. You can put waypoints and stuff like that in if you want to break the law and fly autonomously. It's super interesting. Like, it is really, really neat. And the neat thing about it is you can take it apart and fix it much easier than you could with, say, the Phantom. Like, we got a set of spare parts for it that will let us, like, should I blow out a motor, you can take a motor off, put a new one on, it's ready to go.
That's pretty awesome.
It's
you
neat.
won't have to send it in and
What's that?
we don't have to send it in and wait 8 weeks.
Yeah.
Hey, good. I had to send my Phantom in and wait 8 weeks, but they did not charge me.
Yeah.
It
Oh,
was
that's nice.
Great service.
And was that your fault or their fault, the crash?
Oh, totally my fault.
I thought you had the descend bug though.
That was not a part of the descend bug.
Oh, okay.
No, I was testing. That was what I was out testing for. But when I flew directly into a big rock face, that was totally my fault.
Oh, that's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always never fly behind you, Jeremy.
Don't fly near me. Honestly, I don't want you flying. I don't want you anywhere near me when I'm flying that thing.
The neat thing about the X8 is it's a lot quieter than the Phantom because the 8 propellers, I assume.
Oh,
it makes
that's
a lot
interesting.
less noise.
No kidding.
Seems like.
I would have thought it made more noise.
I would have thought so too.
Huh.
We're gonna go out tonight and try it.
We're gonna get just a little bit.
And you want the 8 for lifting power, because
theoretically we should be able to hang Norm's SLR or the Blackmagic Cinema Cam on the bottom
Maybe
of this thing,
Blackmagic.
or like a kitten.
or a kitten. I wouldn't.
Pizza. Let's call it taco.
Pizza. Oh, that's
Yeah,
safer.
a bag of burritos maybe. Can I deliver a bag of burritos to your house from my house, Norm?
It could be Johnny Appleseed for burritos.
I bet I could. I bet it's illegal and I shouldn't do that, but I bet I
As long as
could.
you don't charge money for it.
Or fly over populated areas,
Good point. It's gonna
which
be
are
free pizza.
everything between
Free
you and
pizza
me.
delivered by Jeremy.
No, officer, it was free pizza.
Yeah, I'm just gonna land it on the porch on your bedroom
Exactly.
window. A sack of
right.
burritos. What could
Yeah.
possibly go
Yeah,
wrong?
children, get under the beds.
Yeah. Norm, go out.
Burrito Fairy's here.
Norm, you have 20 seconds to get outside. And then I'm going to come pick up the quad because the battery will be dead. So yeah, that was my weekend.
Oh.
Yes.
I don't know. This is totally off topic, but I wanted to let you guys know that the automatic in my car, you know, the thing that tests your
I have one
driving,
too.
whether you
I have one too.
accelerate fast or whether you brake too fast.
Fitbit for your car.
They added a feature where it allows you to add emergency contacts.
I don't want to be your emergency contact, Jeremy.
I want to make you guys two of my emergency contacts because I know of all the people I know, you guys will get it done.
What scenarios are the emergencies?
I imagine that I'm in a wreck and unconscious, and my phone will call you.
Like a misery scenario.
And you guys will stop whatever you're doing, 3D print a jaw of life, and fly it out to me on a quadcopter. And
so the car knows
you guys will be
when the car is
high-fiving the
broken.
whole time.
This is a lot of responsibility. Do we have to take your kids if something happens to you and your wife?
Well, gosh, yeah, it's possible everyone will be in the car. Now that's really sad. I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah, like this is a grim request.
Because my wife was obviously going to be one of my emergency contacts.
That seems appropriate.
So I need a safety. I'm going to make you guys my contacts.
I'll be your safety.
Thank
Okay,
you.
I guess I'll do that.
Thanks.
It also works on Android now too.
Finally, it's just now.
No, a while ago.
Okay. Hey, there's one more thing we've been testing. I think all three of us. Oculus
Wow,
DK.
talk about like the most like baller, like pretentious. Sorry, guys. Everyone, 100% of people in this room right now own Oculus DK2s
That's true.
and have them set up
And have developed Squat.
I submitted a project title. It's called Tested.
I have an app that lets me project a video feed on the inside of a sphere in Unity and look around, but the video feed isn't 3D.
You have a
It's not
Unity Pro
360.
license?
No, I did it before
Okay. Gotcha.
When the DK1 came out.
But you have to recompile.
My app is not up to date, nor will it be updated.
So DK2 has been released. When we were at ComiCon, every Oculus booth there, and there were like 5 setups that had Oculus integration.
Like Alien Isolation was there.
Alien Isolation had a big booth where you walked inside an egg and you played Alien Isolation. Legendary Pictures had one for Pacific Rim where you were inside a Jaeger.
For the game?
I think I don't know why they promoted.
I read about that. Did you try it?
No, I didn't try any of them. X-Men had one to promote the X-Men. It was called the Cerebro Experience. And so you sat in a wheelchair and you got to use Cerebro. And Game of Thrones was there with theirs. They all used DK2. And this was before.
Huh.
Did you watch our video at Comic-Con where we saw the shipping notification on the first night at Comic-Con?
That actually was on Reddit.
What was that?
It was in the Oculus subreddit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but people got excited about that.
That we were freaking out?
Yeah.
That we were at Comic-Con?
Yeah.
I'll check that out. And then that's where all the DK2s were. All these promotional companies got DK2s before the actual developers.
There really is an inner circle now.
Yeah. Because I guess remember Oculus didn't work with HBO for the experience because they
Game of
wanted
Thrones
the Game of Thrones thing for the tour because they wanted a standing experience and Oculus wanted sitting. But for all the promotions at Comic-Con, all I think had inside connections with Oculus. Anyway.
But it's in Oculus's best interest to make sure that when it's that close to shipping, to make sure anybody that's showing Oculus to thousands of people at a big event like Comic-Con gets the good experience.
Yes. And they want to, but they must have had it early because they had to develop for DK2 with whatever the SDK was at the time. So we got ours, and we'll talk about it next week when we do our video about it. What do you want to talk about now in terms of what the experience has been like?
So it's pretty rough, to say the least. The current state of the software, I mean, just normal disclosures apply. This is not a consumer product. We should not have bought this. This is for developers. But the SDK, as it was when I installed it the other day, Monday when it came, didn't. So one of the things that I didn't realize is that DK2 supports their new rendering system, which basically says if you launch a game and you switch it to Oculus mode, the game should look at the system and say, oh, there's an Oculus connected. It doesn't have to do the bullshit with the second display and all that stuff that you had to do with DK1, where essentially the Oculus showed up as a secondary display connected to the computer and had a whole other desktop on it. It should just pick up the Oculus, connect over to it, and you won't have to deal with multiple desktops and all the weirdness that entails when you're dealing with the game. But because the Oculus has a different resolution, it uses 1080 by 1900 instead of 1900 by 1080. So it's a portrait or resolution. 1920, sorry. You can't, that handoff thing didn't work. It doesn't work right now for most of the stuff I've tried. I don't know if you've had the same experience.
I don't know which one you mean. I have to run it as an extended.
Yeah, you have to run it as an extended desktop right now.
Right.
And previously, what you would do, because when you run it as a desktop, you can only see like a third of the screen in the center because of the way the lenses work. You would just mirror that desktop onto your main monitor, so you could launch everything from the mirrored desktop, and then put on the glasses when the game starts, and everything's awesome. Because the resolution's weird, you can't actually do that. At least I can't, because my monitor doesn't have the right aspect ratio to show that without shrinking down the Oculus display too.
You can't mirror.
You can't mirror.
It
could be a third monitor, second monitor, or whatever. But you can't mirror, which means that, and since most games don't run on anything but the primary monitor, frequently I'll have a situation where I'm looking in the, like one eye of the glasses, trying to drag the window into a place where I can see it,
and then maximizing,
and then maximize once the game launches, and it's super rough. Also, because the SDK is kind of jacked up, the service that Oculus runs to handle that handoff prevents games from launching and detecting the Oculus there, or the motion tracking being on. So in order to get motion tracking and stuff like Elite Dangerous and some of the other games we've tried, or anything,
or old stuff not made for DK2 yet,
or even stuff that is made for DK2,
you have to kill processes.
You have to kill processes and kill the process that launches the process, which is a shitty experience. So if you didn't buy an Oculus, it's okay.
Yes,
is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
you're avoiding a lot of pain in the ass.
Yeah, but once you get it
what
working,
have you tried?
Oh my god! First of all, the configuration utility has a lot of settings now that I'm not sure was in the original.
It was
SDK.
in some of the updates.
So when you launch a demo scene, for example, you can position your
Tuscany,
camera.
you mean?
No, I'm saying the demo. We were in the room with the typewriter.
Desk.
At the desk.
Right.
You can position the positional tracking camera and see really cool in real time. Field
of
view and where your head won't be tracked and will be tracked.
Yep.
I really like that, and that was actually a really cool demo. And that demo itself with the desk was really cool because you could look up to the plants and the typewriter or whatever was
You
there.
can lean in, you get the full head tracking, which is nice. Yes.
Which I just remembered something else to add for Dweebin testing. But anyway.
Okay.
The other, so that's a cool demo. Tuscany's there. It supports positional tracking now. If you look online, you can find Couch Nights, which you don't need to download. It's just its own package. You don't need to download UE4 SDK.
That's the game where two people sit in the same room and they have little characters that that play inside the room.
Yes, and work with multiplayer. You can actually set up on LAN or with Hamachi, I suppose, and play multiplayer. It looks gorgeous. UE4. It's probably the most polished Oculus thing I've played so far.
I tried the Elite. I paid $75 for Elite Dangerous beta access.
Jesus Christ, that's expensive.
I can't wait to try that. Does it support positional?
It supports positional.
I'll be down.
It's not as good as Valkyrie right now.
In terms of what?
Well, okay, so one of the things I noticed immediately is I got to get a different pair of gaming headphones because my Astro A40s are too loose, and when I turn my head like that, they just flap around everywhere. I didn't have, it's mouse and keyboard. I don't have a HOTAS stick, and it doesn't really work very well with the gamepad right now, or at least configuring it to work with a gamepad. It's a super complex, like early 90s style space sim game. There's all sorts of management stuff, so there's not enough buttons on a gamepad, basically, or at least I haven't been able to figure out a control scheme that works with a gamepad. So I was trying to fly it with a mouse and keyboard, which is not ideal, and your movement is.
I do have a side tech.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
An X58 or something?
Yeah, I should bring that in next week.
You should bring that in. Although that's just another thing to not work, so maybe it's not the best idea. It was good, like it was really awesome. You could lean forward and see the controls, but like you know how in Lunar Flight that weird LEM combat game, you can kind of lean in to see what's on the screens, and then it like tracks your eyes to let you use the cursor to change the things on the side screens. That stuff isn't working yet, so you can see all the screens, but you can't really do a whole lot with them. I don't know enough about the game. I didn't take enough time to learn about the game to know how you can configure those panels and stuff like that. But the combat stuff was great. Like you're in a bubble dome spaceship, space fighter. You can do the drifting like in Battlestar, where you shift on an axis. You can spin around. You can track. You can look up and see the guy that you're trying to pull around to, so that you can line up the shot perfectly on the first try, and you're not just looking down the center of the cockpit. That stuff is fucking awesome.
Wow.
Really, really good.
I've always been impressed with the sound in the videos for that game. Did you have a good sound system you're trying to
I was on my headphones.
Does it sound all right?
So yeah, when you set up that game, you say whether you're doing Oculus with headphones or Oculus with speakers.
Oh, interesting.
And I assume it configures based on like
it'll move the sound.
It'll
if you're
move the
wearing headphones.
sound with your headphones. Yeah. So like, yeah, it was really good. I don't think it's worth $75.
I'm not going to pay $75 for it because that's a lot of money.
I'm probably going to buy it.
I'm going to expense that. I'll be perfectly
Not
frank.
the beta, but
Fuck that. I'm going to do that.
Yeah, you should do that and expense
Jesus
it.
Christ, that's a lot of money.
It's going to be $50 when it comes out.
But
Yeah.
we want to play it for the video.
Yeah,
For the Oculus testing. War Thunder also now supports DK2.
War Thunder is the combat game?
Combat, it's already out. And people have said that works best when you're actually flying a third person.
Is it free to play?
What's War Thunder?
War Thunder it's like a
Free to
Battlefield
play
1942 style air combat game.
Tanks, combat, tanks, planes,
but it's also
infantry.
cross-platform between like PlayStation, Linux, and PC and stuff. And
I played a lot of the guy who made the Studio Ghibli demos updated a lot of his for DK2, so I downloaded Totoro, the Totoro bus stop demo where you stand at the bus stop waiting for the bus, and Totoro comes and gets on the cat bus.
Oh, I haven't tried that.
It's really good.
There's
The
a
rain
Millennium
is really
Falcon,
cool in that. I haven't tried that one. I downloaded it.
Inside of the parts of the Falcon.
Can you
the
play?
cockpit,
Can you play space chess?
You can. You can walk up to the space station table, and behind it, you can actually see this glowing light that represents the Jedi training droid.
Okay.
The flying one. You can stand in the center of it, and with the binaural audio, you can actually hear it flying around you.
That's cool. I tried the drive-in movie theater and the movie theater demo. Virtual FX, I think one of those is called. I can't remember what the other one's called. Those were both okay. Like the video playback in the engine, because they're both Unity demos, the video playback was like rough frame rate, but you could kind of look over and drive a car and all that stuff in the drive-in theater one.
Do you think that this one you'll be able to watch a movie with the DK2?
I don't think I would ever do that.
Because DK1 was way too low resolution.
You still have enough screen door that you're not going to want to do it, and the frame rate problems are.
Well, assuming they get rid of that.
Sitting on that couch in couch nights, and the way the couch is oriented is that you're sitting with a coffee table in front of you. You're on a two-seater. To your right is a one-seater with another avatar there, and across from you is another empty two-seater. I can imagine 6 people, and if you look to your left, there's a TV on the wall that shows a score.
Oh.
You can imagine like using that as a way to watch TV, and having social interactions and using directional positional audio.
Well, so one of those theater apps has social interactions. Like you can start a lobby, people can connect to the lobby, come in, and you can whoever hosts can either force everybody to watch the same thing from the internet, from like YouTube or whatever. You basically get an HTML5 video URL and just watch that, or but you can walk around the lobby. You can have sword fights and the whole thing. It's weird and kind of neat, like that Netflix for HBO Go for Xbox 360 was.
Hey guys,
what have you tried, Jeremy?
Oh, wait, what have you?
I haven't. I've been in 3D printing land. The thing is, I got it working. I tried the demo, and then I was on the forums. I downloaded a few demos, but I didn't actually dive in anything because I read my favorite thing that on the DK1 is the lunar flight, and I read some posts from that guy saying he's having some troubles getting DK2 working. It's going to be a few weeks, and he was, I don't want to say complaining, but he was saying that they changed a lot between the earlier SDKs and the ones that got released.
Yeah.
And it just seemed kind of buggy at the moment. Plus the issues with, it didn't work as a direct device that it would display directly to. You had to run as extended. It just seemed kind of messy, and I'm just going to wait a week or two before I really dive in.
It's definitely messy. Like if you're developing an app, then a game for it, then go nuts. I'm going to hold off. I want to see Half-Life 2 and TF2 and stuff working on it too, so we have a real, because I probably TF2 and Euro Truck Sim are the two things I spent the most time with the Oculus DK1 with. I hope that the Euro Truck Sim guys update soon, although they were kind of late on DK1, because I would love to see how the head tracking, like if you can actually lean forward in DK2 to see the consoles and the GPS and the rear view mirrors and all that stuff. I would love to try that.
Now, have you guys noticed, I'm not sure if this is in the software because it's using the AMOLED screen, if you are not positioned, I think it's probably the AMOLED screen, if you're not positioned right in the center of the lenses, you get the color distortion effect on the edge, where it's almost like a TV.
Oh, right. Chroma aberration.
Yes, chroma aberration, where it's like the colors split off, and you have the split between the red. Now, it's a cool effect, and in some games, you can actually, like, they force that in there when you're not playing with 3D, just, in like UI and stuff. But I've noticed that a lot.
Yeah, I've read that too.
They
tried to counter that in software for the DK1.
Right.
But maybe they have to make more tweaks.
And it goes away once you center the lenses up.
Oh, does it entirely?
Maybe
Hold
not
on, what
on
is
the
this?
fringes.
The blue and green fringes?
Yes. If you look on the fringes of the lens as you look around, and if it's not your eyes aren't perfectly centered and your IPD isn't set right, then you can see the colors being split on the edge.
So
and
how do you
smearing.
fix that? I couldn't fix that, and it makes me crazy.
I don't think you can fix it.
Well, he's saying if you get it
You
just
need it
right.
perfectly centered.
But I couldn't wiggle. Like if one goes right, then the other goes
Right.
wrong.
I mean, it's a physics thing, right? So the pixels are displaying one color, but
Yeah.
then it gets split by the lens in the red and blue. They bend at different rates. So what they did with the DK1 is they actually split it on the screen so that it re-emerges more properly when it hits the lens. So maybe they just have to do more experiments with because it's new optics.
Yeah.
Maybe the new lenses just need more time to fix that in software.
the new lenses are much nicer. Did you try the nearsighted lenses?
No, I used the A ones.
I want to see if they actually are B enough that I don't have to put contacts
They
in.
also are deeper.
They're shallower.
Or shallower.
Yeah.
Okay. The other thing that people have been talking about is that the FOV's changed.
Yeah, that's no good. It's down 10 degrees. It's down from 110 to 100.
I really did not notice.
I didn't
all
notice at
that
all.
difference.
I kind of noticed that.
You
And
did. So when
yeah.
you put on the Oculus, you see more.
Yep.
You know what? I did notice, but it was the inner eye. So if
really?
if I'm looking
On the
with
nose side?
on the nose side, if I'm looking on with my left eye and I looked inside, it actually, but combined, it actually squeezes it all in. You know what I'm talking about? Because
Yeah.
both eyes combine. So I guess I did notice a little bit.
It's still enough for a presence,
Yeah.
but I did notice it. One of the things I liked so much about the DK1 was that field of view.
Yeah, I mean, without eye tracking, you're not really moving your eye as much as you're just moving your head for looking around.
Yep.
I still move my eyes though. You can't stop.
You do, and I think Palmer and Nate and them said that they did it for performance reasons, and obviously it's not final.
Yeah.
I thought that they said that it was. I thought they actually said it wasn't for performance reasons. That it was because of the panel. But they were. I don't know. This is all like I picked up a lot of Oculus news. I apologize. I picked up a lot of Oculus news kind of in the background while I was reading message boards, trying to figure out how to get stuff to work.
Yeah.
On like because it came at 2:00 on Monday afternoon while you were still in the truck, and I had spent all morning downloading demos and getting stuff ready to go in the hopes that I'd be able to just plug it in and it would work and we could shoot a video on Tuesday or Wednesday. But obviously that didn't happen. We're gonna try to shoot. So the capture is going to be interesting. A little weird because of the renderer wonkiness. We're gonna try to do that next
Right. 'Cause
Tuesday.
You can't, can you mirror? I guess
No.
not.
Well, you
could
can.
take a monitor and
I think what I'm gonna have to do is bring a monitor in that I can rotate, but then I don't know how that's gonna work with our capture stuff. So we're gonna bring it in next week. We're gonna try to figure it out. Hopefully we'll have something on Wednesday that we can show you
I'll
guys.
clarify, what Palmer said was that it wasn't for performance; it was just the limitation of the actual optics.
Oh, okay. The optics,
And
not the
performance
not the
was
lens.
the
Not
benefit, side benefit from that, but they didn't choose to make that.
You know what's
trade-off.
exciting for me, though, is just to end this on a good note, is that every time these guys have talked about DK2 and whenever the consumer version comes up, you always kind of get this sense that, like, they have stuff in the lab that is just blowing away DK2. I mean,
I think they do.
you know, and they're just not even excited about DK2 anymore because they've seen what they're actually shooting for. And so I'm sure that that any issues that we have here is going to be worked out.
Yeah.
I think. Well, and remember they said a couple weeks before launch that there's some hardware. There's some hardware stuff in DK2 that they already have fixed for consumer.
Right.
You know that will be fixed in consumer that they just couldn't get into DK2.
And DK2 was developed when they were independent. Now they're fully funded.
Yeah.
They have all this back money from Facebook, so they can kind of shoot for the sky.
I hope they don't do a DK3.
I think.
I don't think they will.
I
Either.
think I was really like. I was pleased with what I saw. You know, the screen door is still there. I think that's
It's not so much a square screen door as it is a weird.
It's a little less noticeable, I think, because of the
diamond
octagons.
shape.
Motion tracking is
The
awesome.
motion tracking is wonderful. Like, it makes a huge difference. I don't get motion sick. I kept this on for Gina laughed. She came in at 11 o'clock. So I put it on at probably 5, finally got it working, and started playing Elite and just going through demos. And then I sat down and loaded up the movie theater and started watching Aliens. And I had the thing on for 5 hours, 6 hours, probably all told.
Wow.
No eye discomfort even. So, like, in that regard,
Glasses on?
contacts. Can't wear glasses underneath.
Contacts,
I don't wear glasses underneath it because it scratches both the glasses and the lenses.
Right.
I think you have to put contacts on if you're as blind as me. And I think that's something they have to address for consumer. Like they need a better. If you look at what Sony's done with Morpheus, that thing works great with glasses on. It's big and huge and bulky.
But you have more light leak.
Not really, just a little tiny bit right around the bottom. And this one, I did notice there's more light leak in the frame. I don't know if you guys noticed that.
I noticed some glare, like light bounces in.
You think it's glare?
I see a little. It's a circle.
It's
in the
like
lens.
it's like up above, top right, top left,
Depends
bottom
where the light
left,
is coming
bottom
from.
right.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was very impressed.
I love there's no breakout box. That's nice.
That is wonderful.
It's clean.
If you guys at home have stuff you want us to try, we have it's Thursday now. We're doing this on Tuesday. Post in comments, preferably on tested.com, and we'll load up as much as we can try because we're trying to find the best demos. That I don't know if you guys saw it, but the demo site that Oculus has put up is pretty good. It doesn't have a DK2 filter yet, or it didn't the last time I looked.
Just share.
The share.oculus.com. I think you need a developer account to use that, but I've gone down the most popular and highest rated list there for stuff that's DK2 compatible. We're always looking for more stuff. So if there are finished games or even like mostly finished like big games like Elite Dangerous that you think we should try, let us know about those. We're going to keep going down the list, and we'll find a big
And I'll be testing
giant
it
list
on
of stuff to try.
a mid to low range system that we built. So Will has the higher end and
Yeah, so this is on an old CPU with a GTX 780. I'm having a hard time keeping locked 75 frames per second on anything. So that's also NVIDIA and ATI needed to step it up.
A GTX what?
780.
That's
a new
this
one.
The
generation.
TI, it's the high end,
Oh my
not the
gosh.
Titan.
Wow.
that's
Big card. I bought it specifically for this and for video encoding. Like,
Jesus.
So
Yeah.
this next generation coming out this fall is going to be a pretty big deal.
I mean, always need more power.
More power.
The video card guys should be super stoked about Oculus.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden you need to upgrade your shit again.
Wow.
Anything else? Fire Phone. Norman
Guess
Chan.
what's not impressive?
I want to see the Fire Phone. Do you have it here?
Fire phone. It's in my backpack.
Oh.
I'm not gonna go grab it right
I
now.
want to see. Oh, what?
I will take it to lunch.
What's the worst thing about it?
The head tracking.
What is it good for anything? Has it exceeded your expectations in
The
any
head
way?
tracking is no, absolutely not.
Is it?
The head tracking is completely superfluous.
Of course, we knew that.
Completely superfluous.
Is there?
Like the UI stuff they do with it, you can do with the accelerometer.
We talked about that last week.
Yes,
Or
exactly.
a month
yeah.
ago.
I'm gonna return the phone.
Oh my God.
I'm
Well,
gonna
like,
transfer
just to
my
be clear, you didn't pay for it, and you're still going to return it. I mean, we paid
no,
for it
we
out of
paid
our
for it,
tested
and I have not
budget.
expensed it yet, so
Yes.
I'm gonna return it and not have the company pay for it. I'm gonna put my SIM card in there this weekend.
Okay, use it as your
and
phone.
Use my phone, and then we're gonna do a video, and then most likely gonna return it because after using it for several days just for web browsing and email and trying to do basic stuff on it, nope.
Have they improved the mail clients and stuff over the versions that? Because the mail clients that are on the Fire tablets were
the
like
messaging-
bad but not unusable.
They're fine. They're nothing special.
What?
But the rendering 3D stuff, the parallax stuff is almost useless. They hide some UI stuff, and you could tilt the phone to reveal the UI.
Have you tried auto scroll?
It doesn't really work.
Okay.
It's not eye tracking.
It's not eye tracking. Oh, I'm sad.
You were so sure of that, Will.
I thought that they were going to use it to collect data. Amazon shares have tanked since the Fire Phone came out
I
and their earnings
I
report.
sold way before that. I'm so happy.
You chose wisely. They lost like 15% in the last week, so it's been a bad week for them.
saw.
I guess that'll do it for what we've been testing. I'm going to play some music, and then we're going to take some questions. Because we don't do emails, we do
Emails.
No.
Questions.
Boom. Damn it, Brad. You started late with the video. I don't even know what's going on. The email address is podcast@tested.com. The Giant Bomb guys last week on their podcast were talking mess about our podcast alias. Do you remember this, Norm, when we first started? They made me a mail admin to make the aliases we need, and I took editors and podcast and because whoever set up the aliases for Gmail, for Google Apps for your domain, didn't know how to do that shit right. They just didn't set up. Like, that's why Bombcast is bombcast@giantbomb.com instead of podcast@giantbomb.com.
Will took podcast.
4-year-old beef came out last week on the Giant Bombcast. I'm not going to let that shit stand. It's not me. It's because our IT support was lackluster
You
at
still
best.
won't give it up.
What?
Don't give it up.
I'm not going to give it up.
All right,
I'm going to, if they're lucky, I'll switch our emails with their emails next week because we still have their emails still all on our shit. CBS can't get their email addresses set up right. I'm just saying, like, I am the admin for Giant Bomb's mail domain. I will destroy you, motherfuckers. If you have an email address, the email address is podcast@tested.com.
If you have an email address?
If you have an email, if you have a question,
right.
You can send written questions or audio questions. Please keep the audio questions short and make sure they don't sound like they were recorded while you are in a space shuttle going to outer space.
Should I make sure that you can download them?
That's a different thing. We'll talk about that in a minute.
Okay.
Our first question, all written this week, comes from Matthew. Matthew says, "Hey guys, I've been watching your video series for the Printer Bot Simple, and I've been thinking about the purchase of a 3D printer for some time.
Do it.
I think I'm about ready to dive in. I'm looking to get into getting the Simple Maker's Kit. I know you built the metal version, but I wonder what are your impressions of the printer and the quality of prints compared to more expensive printers like the MakerBot, and if the quality would differ between the metal and wooden frames of the two printer bots. And while at times while watching your build, I wasn't sure the instructions were clear enough to build the printer myself, but it seems like with a little common sense, it was actually easy enough and worth it to learn how the printer is assembled. However, I do have worries about calibration. Wouldn't want to damage anything as it would take some time to get a replacement shipped from the U.S. Finally, do you think it's worth buying the XL upgrade kit rather than a potential early upgrade to another printer? Printing slightly larger objects in a place to hold the spool off the bat seem useful to have. Okay.
Wait, you can get an XL upgrade for the
Yeah,
Simple?
they have a bigger print bed for it.
For the Simple?
For the Simple.
Didn't know that.
I don't know if they have one for the Simple metal.
Wait, so with the bigger print bed, you get it's not just the bed; it's also the X/Y axis.
I think that the X-axis, the Z-axis, you mean the one that goes up?
Stays the same.
Yes.
And the
And
XY
the
axis
bed
changes,
is larger.
Yeah. So the bed includes the XY axis. It's not as simple as just changing the plate.
Well, yeah, but in order to change the Y-axis, you would need to change a bit about the rest of the machine, not just the bed.
Yeah, so it's.
I didn't know that. I thought the XL was for a different bot.
I think the Printer Bot Simple XL upgrade with spool rack is for the wooden printer, not for the
so it could be
metal
constructed
printer.
differently.
So, and the wooden by default is actually only, what, 4x4x4 print area?
It's cupcake size, basically.
Whereas
yeah.
the metal is 6x6x6.
Is it 6x6x6 or is it 6x4x6?
6x6x6.
Okay. I feel like the Simple is a good place. The Simple metal is a good place to start. I probably wouldn't buy a wooden one since the metal one isn't particularly more expensive.
Right.
Just because the maintenance on keeping the wooden one, like those over time, the way those are constructed with the slots, the nut slots and the nuts, they get loose because the wood contracts and the screws and the nuts bite into the wood. So you're always having to tighten them down. At least that's the case with our Replicator 1 and our Thing-O-Matic and our Cupcake. So I bought the metal one because I think the metal one is the way to go if the option isn't too much more expensive. The heated bed makes it easier to break stuff loose. I don't think it's strictly necessary. I think PLA is great. If you get good at putting blue painter's tape down, and you can buy blue painter's tape in really wide sheets now, which makes it much easier. Get like a little hard plastic squeegee to help scrape bubbles out as you put the tape down. That's if you ever put a screen cover on your iPhone, it probably comes with something that's probably about perfect. I think that's it for me. Okay, I feel like the things you get by having the bigger build platform aren't worth the additional cost. And the neat thing about a 3D printer is you'll be able to unload that, assuming you're someplace where there's people who are interested in 3D printing at all, for cost, for a little bit under what you call it. Like your depreciation on a new 3D printer isn't much. Like if you want to upgrade your Printer Bot Simple in 2 years to something that is bigger, faster, or better, you'll be able to get $400 or $500 back out of it.
Yeah, I saw someone was selling on Reddit. I hate keeping. That's like third time I mentioned Reddit, but somebody sold their Printer Bot
Jeremy
Simple
Williams, Reddit
for
expert.
$500, which is only $100 less than they paid for it.
Yeah,
which is great.
Yeah. So I would say jump in. If you don't have CAD skills, you're probably like learn to spend some time with SketchUp or 123D Design or stuff like that, and see what you think.
And I vouch for Assembled, man. I know that you don't learn as much, but if you're short on time, I would go for it because it doesn't cost much more at all.
And
like
I mean,
$60 more.
The calibration stuff you're going to have to do either way. It's a little bit easier with the Assembled, it sounds like, from talking to you.
Well, like I didn't have my axes wrong. I didn't have to troubleshoot that stuff like that.
Right.
So it was just good to go. But I'm also comfortable taking things apart if I have to.
Mm-hmm. And that design, the design of that printer is super easy to take apart. Like you can look at it and see how it works. I don't know how they manage cables in the bottom because that ended up being a real snarl on ours. I got to go back and fix that at some point. But it is like the business end of that printer is all pretty easily accessible. But I mean, again, I think the assembly it's like a 4-hour process. They're thereabouts, even if you have problems. And between our video and their instructions, you'll be able to figure it out. Like, I think we made all of the major mistakes that you can make from following their kind of admittedly lackluster instructions. Caleb asks, I want to try and go to my first ComiCon next year. As you guys are vets of the venue, I was hoping to get some first-timer tips. First off, I know tickets sell out very quickly. What is a good strategy for giving yourself the best chance of getting tickets, and how do you figure out when they are going to go on sale? Secondly, how much money should I expect to spend in expenses, tickets, hotel, food, travel, etc., not to mention what I'm sure will be a healthy amount of merch? Thanks, guys. Tested rocks.
Oh, boy.
Also, please tell Joey that he does an awesome job on tested content. I'm an AV guy myself, and I really appreciate the time and effort that kind of work takes. And Joey has clearly got to be a miracle worker, as are many people of the enterprise. It doesn't make sense from there on out. But anyway, he wanted to give Joey a shout out.
I agree.
Joey's rad. We cannot say enough kind things about Joey. Okay. There are a lot of variables here. I don't know how you get tickets because we always get press tickets or professional tickets or something. That just happens.
Yes.
I assume that you have to subscribe to a mailing list and then obsessively watch email over a period of like 36 hours.
To their Twitter.
But
Some of us get press tickets.
How fast does it sell out?
Hours.
Minutes. Wow. 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah. Even getting press tickets is hard, and we're accredited. We are legitimate press. You know, we're not the New York Times, but we're as legitimate as you can get on the internet, I think, at this point. The how much to spend, like there's a wide range. You can spend $250 to $500 a night on hotel, or you can spend $70 a night on hotel. It all depends on how much time you want to spend in the car driving back and forth, whether you want to be able to walk to the con.
I think all in is about $2,000.
If you go big,
no
plane tickets and everything.
On average, yeah.
That's what, like, is there a news story that makes you think that?
No, it's from experience.
Okay.
Well, you're also heavily merch oriented, perhaps.
I think including plane tickets and hotel for
plane
all
tickets.
5 days.
Plane tickets will do it.
You're saying, and food and everything. Yes. So when you used
All
to
in.
come as an attendee,
Yes,
that's what you budgeted was $2,000.
But you should budget around $2,000.
And was that staying at like the Super 8 or the Roadway Inn or something,
No,
right?
staying at the Holiday Inn far away. You know, their hotels on the shuttle path.
Okay.
What was the most expensive merch you bought this year?
$200 for 3 posters, a set.
Nice.
They're really beautiful. I'll show you a picture as we continue talking.
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean,
it is a huge investment. If you live in San Diego, obviously it makes it much easier.
or even in like Orange County, you can come down for the day. But yeah, it's and food is expensive. Like food in the convention center is $15 for something terrible.
Bring your own food.
In the hotels adjoining the convention center is $15 for something that's moderately better. Yeah. Food in the gas lamp is what, $40 a person if you sit down to eat someplace and have a beer, pretty much. Depends on where you go. I know.
Try to go with friends. Pack yourself in a room. You can get by with like $1,000 all spend if you pack it in.
Well, and the other thing I know a lot of people do, and I see both sides of this argument, is that if you get up early, get in line, and get on some of the toy lines for Mattel and Lego and Hasbro and all that stuff.
Don't do that.
You can. Yeah.
Don't buy stuff to flip.
Just work more. Yeah.
I love those.
Yeah. What'd you get, Norm? I want to see. Next question. Comic-Con's fun. Everybody should go once. Oh, those are really good. The 3 surviving.
60.
Who did those?
I forget the guy's name. I have another one of his. But
You know, just about Comic-Con real quick.
Have you ever been, Jeremy?
No, and I'd like to, but maybe next year. But if I grew up in the 80s in Virginia, and if anybody had told me when I hit puberty that someday there would be a place with countless beautiful women wearing video game costumes.
And men.
Well, yes. But if
You're saying
anybody,
14-year-old
when I was
you
going
wouldn't
through
have cared.
puberty, I was more,
Fair enough.
concerned with the women. And if anybody told me that there would be a place in the world in the future where there'd be people wearing costumes that they made for video games and fantasy-related materials, I would have told you from another dimension. I mean, that is just so unlike my experience of life.
Norm didn't grow up. Remember, Norm grew up in the era when nerds were cool.
No.
He didn't get swirlies.
Okay.
It's a good time to be alive.
Yes. A better recommendation also is don't go to ComiCon. There are so many other conventions around the country, or maybe close to your area.
PAX or one of the local cons.
PAX is also difficult to get into, but a New York Comic-Con, a WonderCon, those don't sell out immediately, and cheaper. And in Anaheim, hotels are better, situations better. Don't jump into a Comic-Con. It's too much and over commercialized at this point.
You're saying Comic-Con's the World Series.
I mean, if you're in the area, you can get away with going to a lot of the stuff peripheral around Comic-Con.
We had a lot of people came to our party that didn't have badges. They were just like,
exactly.
I just came down for the party and to walk around the Gaslamp and see what people were wearing.
Yeah, that's totally fine. If you're in the area, I mean, don't fly for that. I wouldn't fly cross country or even along the coast just for an evening.
I've been to Comic-Con enough at this point for work stuff that I feel like probably I would be fine not going again. Like, I feel like it's something you go to once or twice and be, for the most part, get what you need from it. Like, get the experience of being there with 120,000 people. And I'm okay. I understand what's happening now. I don't need to
You
go
had your
see.
party this year, though. That must have been
Oh, it was amazing.
quite different.
It was wonderful.
Yes, it looked amazing.
It was a lot of work. But it was it was totally paid off. It was really, really amazing.
Yeah.
It was great to, I mean, we talked about this on Still Untitled this week. Or maybe this week. It was like the tested audience always blows me away because they're gracious and smart and have interesting both vocations and avocations, and it's wonderful to talk to those guys and women. And like we had an hour where we let them. They came in before everybody else, and just kind of got to walk around and look at stuff and chat, and we had a good time. Took a lot of pictures. Picture of Norm with Skrillex.
I saw that.
Longtime tested fan Skrillex, you know.
Clearly.
That is a completely different thing. But I'm just saying, if I were just a civilian, if I weren't going for work, like when we were at Whiskey Media and I didn't have a reason to be at Comic-Con, I was okay with that. I am not a super fan. It was fun to go and get the spectacle and watch everything and experience that. But we've been to other stuff. Like you get a lot of the same stuff at PAX. You get a lot of the same kind of like the wonderful, the feeling you described, the communal feeling of being surrounded by people who like at least some subset of the same things that you like and are into them. And you can have like, we take it for granted because like when we were at Future, we could sit down and have a conversation about the merits of Quake 3 versus Unreal Tournament over burritos at lunch, right? Like that was a thing that happened constantly. Those kinds of conversations about nerdy shit that at the time, prior to starting working there, where I was surrounded by other people who were into video games and comic movies and all science fiction and all the shit that I love, like I didn't have anybody I could talk to about that stuff when I lived in the real world. And that's one of those things you get at Comic-Con that is wonderful. You don't have to go to Comic-Con for that. You can go to your local cons. I think is what Norm's trying to say. You can go to PAX. You can go to. There's like 17 PAXs now. I think they have them in Australia and San Antonio and Boston and all sorts of places. There's a bunch of smaller cons. There's FanFest. There's Star Wars Celebration, which sells out in like 30 seconds. There's tons of other stuff. You can get that everywhere now. It's not just a Comic-Con. That's all I'm saying. There's a lot of people. Comic-Con's fucking full. Too many people there. Our last question. Nick says, "Hey guys, when will the hashtag bullshit end?" I think he's talking about like when you watch TV.
It sounds rhetorical.
And it says,
Yeah.
I don't have an answer.
It's more an existential thing.
Yeah.
When will the hashtag bullshit
It's a
end?
statement.
That is something Buddha would say.
This is something that started like back in the 90s.
When will the hashtag bullshit end?
AOL keyword Nissan, right? Remember that?
Yes.
And then they put the URLs because enough people had real internet that they could just figure out that www and .com weren't scary.
Yep.
And then they went to Facebook pages. For a while there was Friendster stuff, I think maybe. I don't know.
Yep.
Now it's hashtags and Twitter, and hashtags are useless. I don't think anybody uses. There was an article in the Wall Street Journal yesterday that said basically the only people using hashtags now are advertisers and people who are being sarcastic about hashtags.
Yeah, people being sarcastic, and it has become part of. It is a tool for
marketers.
No, a tool for conversation. When you the hashtag says like it's either sarcasm or comedy, or but you use it ironically, not ironically.
Almost exclusively ironically.
The popular sarcastically, the popular understanding of the word ironic is how people use it.
Isn't it ironic, Norm?
Like packing your tweets with hashtags. Yeah.
Hashtag irony. Hashtag. Yeah. There's a skit. There's a bit. It's not very funny anymore. That's it for mail this week. The email address is podcast@tested.com. Jeremy Williams, where can people find you and or your work on the interwebs?
GameFraud.
AOL keyword Jerry Williams.
AOL keyword GameFrame. GameFraud.me or ledsec.com.
Where is .me? Did we talk about this already?
I don't know. That's a good.
Mesopotamia?
I knew that at one point. Maybe it's one of these custom, just like a unique, .business domains. It's like you can buy .cool now.
Really?
As of last week, yeah.
I'll be right back. How much are they expensive?
No, they're cheap. I get them all mine through
Hover.
Hover's great. They don't advertise with us. I'm a big fan of Hover.
Hey Hover, if you're listening to the podcast, advertise with us.
Oh, .me is the internet country code top level domain for Montenegro.
Oh.
The ME top level domain replaced the .yu Yugoslavia and .cg.yu domains previously used by Serbia and Montenegro. So there you go. Norman Chan, where can people find you? Tested.com?
Tested.com. It's a good place.
It's good. I'm here. I'm in the same place.
I'm also on Twitter. I am on Twitter.
I send you Twitter messages.
I know. But this is like so cool now because I'm finally discovering Twitter because of the GameFrame thing. And so I'm like getting messages on there that I don't even know about until like days later when I actually log into Twitter. But
Are you still using Google Plus?
I'm starting to do it more. And so I'm kind of enjoying Twitter for the first time.
Twitter's good. I like Twitter.
So I'm at Jareware.
There's a lovely, like the one-to-many, one-to-one kind of relationship of Twitter is the neat thing. The fact that you can follow people who don't follow you back and like find out what they're interested, find out what people you think are interesting or interested in, super useful.
And mandated brevity. I'm big on that.
Mandated brevity is a wonderful, like I don't ever want to see a 4,000 word blog forum post again. That shit's too long. You should just cut it out.
Agreed.
We'll be back next week with another edition of This Is Only a Test. Today's outro is brought to you by 333. There are a ton of really good outros on our forum. People submit these every week. They do it by typing raw outro song file into Google. It's the first result. It's a forum post on Tested. And then they upload their edited versions. So they download the template. They cut out something dumb that we've said on one of the many videos or podcasts that we do. And then they upload it to a service like SoundCloud. Now, this is where things go wrong.
Nuts bite into the wood.
It was so good up until now.
Yeah, it was wonderful, right? The user participation, everybody's contributing. I love that stuff. The problem is SoundCloud, by default, most people, when they upload stuff, it's set to not let other people download. Now, there are ways around this. I could cheat and use HTML5 elements in the developer console in Chrome. I'm lazy. I'm not going to do that. You need to make sure that the checkbox that says allow motherfuckers to download this file is checked. Because if the little downward arrow is not on the SoundCloud embed when you put in the forums, I'm never going to play it on the show. It's not me. It's just the way these things are. It's not personal. It's not that I don't like you. It's not that I don't respect your work. It's that I would have to do some hacker ass shit to get the audio file here, and I don't have time for that because usually this is the last thing I do before we start the show. So today's outro is brought to you by 333. If you would like me to maybe have a chance of playing your outros, go back and look at them, see if the download thing is checkmarked on SoundCloud, and we'll see you guys next week. Today's outro is 333. Hey, Jibo! I need a mac and cheese recipe. Oh. Hi there, I didn't see you. Jibo! Jibo, order pizza. Jibo, make me a sandwich. Jibo, I need to feel love. Jibo! Why 2015? Why? Jibo!
That was really funny. That's the first time I've ever been in an outro.
Really?
Yeah.
I think it's great. It's still going, I think.
It's great.
Jibo. That's really good. Why would you not like to say Jibo?
I just want to say Jeebus.
Can I add a quick story post outro?
Yeah. We used to have a whole segment post outro where we did fake outtakes because of you.
It was called How Hungry Can Norm Get?
You cursed a moment ago, which made me think of something.
Okay.
I was, and this is totally benign, but I was watching your ComiCon thing, and the very first thing you say on your very first ComiCon video of this year is, "Oh my God, we're at ComiCon!" Like that's the first line out of your mouth.
Yeah.
Well, I had the volume up, and my 4-year-old walked in at that exact moment.
Oh no.
And then, like, I just turned it off, like thinking nothing of it, and then 30 seconds later, she says, "What does 'oh my God' mean?" And I was like, "Oh well, it means kind of wow." But we kind of say "oh my gosh" at school and things like that because some people think "oh my God" sounds a little strong. She says, "Why?" She says, "What is God?" And I had to go into this whole discussion with her because of what you said. And I was like, "Well, some people believe that there's this." I was just like, "Honey, it just means wow. Let's just leave it at that." And it was a complicated, overly complicated moment that I didn't expect to have.
I'm sorry, and I guess I don't know.
You brought religion into our house.
I'm so sorry, actually, because if of all the people to bring religion into your house, I am the least qualified. It amazes me how much little sponges they are, because we're in the thing now where we were talking to somebody and they're like, you really shouldn't say good job for everything because it kind of devalues it, right? I don't understand. I think that's the reasoning. I don't know why.
You have to be specific.
Yes. Nice work on this. So I said, instead of saying good job, we should just say fucking A. And then, of course, I hear behind me, fucking A. Like, oh, that might not have been good. This is going to...
Where's my rent? Give me money now.
See, my feeling is that stuff is fine until it hits the school and you get calls from parents. Like, I don't want that.
Yeah.
I don't want to be where the virus starts.
How long before you can recreate?
Recreate what?
The Funny or Die, Will Ferrell.
Oh, the landlord baby?
Landlord baby.
I could do that right now, probably. She'll parrot.
You should do that right now. It's perfect.
I don't think it would be that funny.
Yes, it would.
I saw a kid at Comic-Con wearing a Gonk droid costume. Jeremy Williams, do you know what a Gonk droid is?
Yes, Gonk.
Gonk.
Yeah, from the Sandcrawler.
Sandcrawler. Yes. It was awesome. He was like 3 feet, or she maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
Didn't see the kid. I just saw 2 trash cans glued together with some lights on the front and like vet dryer duct legs and big square feet. It was amazing.
That's great.
It was a really good costume.
You pay now.
I'm so sorry for bringing religion into your house.
Amen.
Do you have to explain how far down the hole did you get?
I think I got out early enough that who can say?
Did you have to talk about Santa Claus too?
No.
Because I figure Easter Bunny, Santa Claus, all that stuff goes to Tooth Fairy, all of that stuff, and organized religion, same category.
Choose your deities.
Right. There is some overlap.
Age 4.
It gets complicated.
God, Buddha, Jesus, help me. Yeah. We'll see you guys next week. Bye.